Chapter 1. The Beginning. It was the night of the Kyuubi attack on Konoha, and the Sandaime Hokage sat in what was once again his office. Off to the side of his desk slept a newborn child that by all means should be seen as the prince of the village and a hero, but sadly he knew that would not be true. What could only make things harder was that he couldn't even tell everyone who the child's father was. That he was the son of the Yondaime Hokage who made the ultimate sacrifice for his son and the village, but his father had too many enemies, and to do so would only endanger the child and village even more. As he reclined in his leather chair, which was the only thing he missed about the job he had to retake, he heard a voice that made his day somewhat better. "Sensei." Sarutobi looked up to see his most loyal student in Jiraiya of the Sannin, sensei to Yondaime, and the young infant's godfather. "What is it that you want, Jiraiya?" Sarutobi said with a sad smile on his face. "Well, it's about Naruto." He paused, truly thinking about what he was about to say. "I want to fulfill my role as godfather and take the boy with me," he stated. "And why, may I pray tell?" Sarutobi asked. He knew of Jiraiya's life and wasn't about to let his most irresponsible student take care of a baby. Besides it being the right thing to do, I have the feeling that I can turn the boy into the greatest ninja to walk the planet. Besides, who would have the privilege to say that they trained two of the greatest shinobi ever? He said with an all-knowing smirk on his face. "You can't possibly think that it would be safer to let him roam the village. You know they'll blame as the Kyuubi and take it out on him," he said. Sarutobi sighed, letting out a puff of smoke from his pipe, knowing that his student was right. "Fine, but bring him back when he is 12 so that he can at least graduate from the academy on time with kids his age," he finished and looked up to see his student laughing. "Ha ha. Sensei, 12 years will be unfair to the rest of those kids, but if that's what you want, don't worry," he finished, still chuckling a little bit. "And what should I expect him to know when he comes back?" Sarutobi now a little more interested at the idea of what Jiraiya could actually do. "Oh, come on, Sensei, where is the fun in telling you everything I plan to teach the Gaki?" Jiraiya paused when he saw the stern look on his leader's face. The Gamma Sennin sighed. "Don't worry about his taijutsu, as I've been working on something special for him. Outside of that, Fuinjutsu, and maybe give the Gaki a weapon to have some fun with. But I do wish for one thing, and that is that you send Kakashi to meet up with me in 5 years to watch over him for a month every 3 months, and the final year, before we come back to help the boy in his ninjutsu training." "And why do you need him that often?" Sarutobi asked, not liking the idea of his student leaving young Naruto alone, even if it is with Kakashi. "First off, I still do have to check in with my spies. And secondly, how else am I going to find time to do my research unless you want to wait longer for my next masterpiece?" He finished with a lecherous grin while his sensei lowered his head to hide his blush. "Fine," Sarutobi agreed, knowing that Kakashi would want to do anything he could for his sensei, and that he didn't have the nickname the Copy Ninja for nothing. And he couldn't stand the idea of having to wait for the Ico Ica sequel. Upon hearing the conformation, Jiraiya quickly scooped the infant from the crib and left the office, but not before he reminded his sensei of the other headache he was left to deal with. "Enjoy explaining this one to the council." Sarutobi slammed his head on the desk, pissed that he forgot about that. "I can only hope he lives a longer life than your last student, and might want to take this job off my hands." He sighed and turned to go to bed, for tomorrow would bring forth his greatest enemy of all time: paperwork. Council room. The council room was in an uproar. The civilians were the loudest, demanding to know what happened to the Kyuubi. The room fell deathly quiet the moment that the aged Hokage walked into the room and towards his seat. Once he took his seat, he looked around at the clan heads and village elders that were in their seats. He cleared his throat and prepared himself for the migraine he felt coming. "Please calm yourselves. I will answer your questions to the best of my abilities. Now, as we all know, our beloved Yondaime gave his life to stop the Kyuubi, and we can rest assured that we are safe now." "Excuse Hokage-sama, but can you tell us what has happened to the beast?" The lazy voice of Nara Shikaku said, wanting to get this over with as soon as possible. "Right to the point, as always, Shikaku. The Kyuubi has been sealed inside of an infant child." "Then we should kill the child now and get rid of the beast once and for all," one civilian member said. He very quickly wished he kept his mouth shut and everyone thought twice before talking after feeling the Hokage's Ki spike. I don't know what is wrong with you, but we are not going to act like a bunch of fearful barbarians and kill a newborn child who was given this great burden without even having a choice in the matter. I request that the child be placed in the care of the Uchiha clan so that the child can grow to be a proper shinobi. The proud voice of Uchiha Fugaku sounded off, not one to miss a chance to strengthen his clan. A snort was heard as soon as he was done speaking. If the child is to be raised to be a proper shinobi and citizen, then it is obvious that the child should be placed in the care of the Hyuga clan. Hiruzen was about to retort when the voice that he least wanted to hear started to finally make his presence known. While I'm sure that both respected clans can raise the boy like they say, Sarutobi. He was cut off right there. The aged Hokage had heard enough of this, and he had much paperwork to finish. I already know what you are about to say, Danzo, and in anticipation that you all would act this way, I have already taken care of this, and all you need to know is that the child will grow to be a strong shinobi without relying on the powers of the Kyuubi. Now, if you excuse me, I have a lot of work that I have to attend to, as does everyone else has too. So you are all dismissed. Hiruzen then disappeared in a gust of wind and leaves. 12 years had passed far too fast for Sandaime, and over the time, he had his chances see young Naruto. He was impressed by what he saw, and that boy looked up towards him as his grandfather. But he had not seen him or Jiraiya since Kakashi left to help him out, and today was the day that they would return. He didn't have to wait long, because after being at work for about 2 hours, his door swung open, and he heard the voice he'd been waiting to hear. Gigi. He looked down to see Naruto running towards him with his trademark grin plastered on his face. If there was one thing he knew that Jiraiya did right, was that the boy was a free spirit who loved to have fun. He just didn't like that he also had that small prankster side to him. Obviously from his mother, Hiruzen thought. He stood at about 5 feet 2 inches and was dressed in black cargo pants with an orange stripe going down the sides, a tight shirt that went down to his forearms. He also wore a pair of arm guards and a vest that looked like a custom Yinbyu vest. It carried 2 swords instead of one on the back, and also had a place to carry 2 decent-sized scrolls at the lower back. The vest and the back of his shirt had the Konoha leaf symbol stitched into the back in orange. And to top the look off, his hair was like a shortened version of his father. It's good to see you too, Naruto. Are you excited about starting your first day at the academy? The Sandaime said as he sat him down from the hug. Are you kidding? The Gaki wouldn't shut up the entire way back. Jiraiya chirped in as he walked into the office, much to the delight of Sarutobi, seeing his longtime student and friend. Well, in that case, take this note to room 201 at the academy building. You do know where that is, right? Naruto nodded his head. Good, give that to your sensei, Yumino Irika. He'll take care of you from there. Jiraiya and I have a few things to discuss. Okay. Naruto nodded again and started to run out of the office before Jiraiya stopped him. Remember, Gaki, don't show off too much. You gotta save your best tricks for the Chunin exams. He smiled at the look Naruto had on his face. Ah, but pervy sage, that's no fun. Do I have to? Naruto complained. Yes. The Toad Sage's voice left no room for argument. Naruto left angry, grumbling. Stupid pervy sage. Never letting me get to have any fun. When the door closed and the Sandaime got over the shock of what he had just heard, he had only one question to ask his student. What exactly does he actually know? Now, where would be the fun if I told you that? Jiraiya said. The Sandaime just sighed and took a big puff on his pipe. If that was what he had to say, then he knew that the village was never going to be the same again after today. You used that line when I let you take the boy away, Jiraiya, and now I want answers. Back at the academy, Naruto had found room 201, and for the first time, he was really kind of nervous. After he gathered his nerves, he knocked on the door, which was opened almost immediately. Said man looked at the young boy and took the note from his hand. After reading it, he smiled and ushered him into the classroom and spoke. All right, class, we have a new student who will be joining us for the rest of the year. This was met by some less than happy answers. Troublesome, was what was said by one boy who looked like he just woke up. Nanny, that's not fair. How does he get to join after we've been here for the last 7 years? Yelled a boy who had a puppy on top his head that barked, agreeing with his owner. HMPF, just another dobe that will die as soon as he leaves the village gates. Another boy said who had the haircut that made it look like he had a duck, but for hair. A loud squeal was heard followed by, "Sasuke-kun, is so cool," screamed the pink-haired banshee. But from the second he walked in, half of the Sasuke Uchiha fan club switched over at that moment. "Why don't you introduce yourself to the class so everyone can get a chance to learn a little bit about you?" Irika said, making Naruto feel a little better. "Okay, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm the son of Kushina Uzumaki, heir to the now destroyed Whirlpool Village. My dad's not really that important, but he was from Konoha. I was told that my parents had enemies, so for my entire life I've spent it traveling and learning from my adopted father Jiraiya of the Sannin to keep me out of danger, even though he's just a big old pervert. Besides that, I love ramen and beautiful girls. I hate people who judge others before they get to know someone, and the 3 minutes you have to wait for instant ramen. And finally, my dream is to become the greatest Hokage ever." He finished, leaving everyone with shocked faces. Irika finally schooled his face and told Naruto to take a seat. As he went to his seat, two girls caught a hold of themselves first. The first was a platinum blonde with light blue eyes, who was dressed in purple. She then leaned over to the pink-haired banshee and spoke. "Wow, cute, and the last son of Lost Village. You can have Sasuke forehead. I found me a new man worth my time. Besides, this one sounds like he will pay attention to me," the blonde stated. "Besides, blondes do have more fun." "How can you even bring yourself say something like that, Eno pig?" the banshee screamed at her rival. Meanwhile, another girl in the back row stared with a deep blush as she thought to herself, "There's something about Naruto-kun that makes him so different from the other boys," she thought as he sat down one row in front of her. "Hi, I'm Naruto, what's your name?" he said to lavender-eyed girl. My name is Hinata Naruto-kun," she shyly stuttered out. "Nice to meet you, Hinata-chan, you know you're pretty cute," Naruto said as he turned around to watch the rest of the class. Meanwhile, Hinata's blush was blood red after hearing someone call her cute for the first time. "Naruto thinks that I'm cute." After that, she promptly passed out. She hit the ground with a surprisingly loud thud. "Irika-sensei, look what the new kid did to Hinata." The kid with a puppy on his head that barked in agreement with his master yelled. When she came to the class continued, and it did so with a different attitude than when he first arrived. Most of the boys were laughing at how easy it was to change the Sasuke fan club, while some were wondering if what he said was true about Jiraiya being his father and teaching him. Most decided to blow it off as someone just trying to make themselves look good in front of the class, while half of the girls didn't care if he was lying or not. All they knew was another cute boy was in the class. When lunch came around, one thing that made the instructors start to believe what the blonde boy said about growing up with the infamous lecher. Naruto was a natural when it came to talking to the rest of the girls, whereas Sasuke was being his usual brooding self. But for someone who was raised by the world's biggest pervert, he had amazing self-control and knew what he wanted already, but he didn't mind all of the female attention. But the girls were in for a surprise right before lunch when Naruto told them all something to make them think. "So Naruto-kun, what kinds of girls do you like?" asked a random girl in the group, which made all the girls quiet down so they could hear the answer. "Well, I don't know completely, but I do know one thing, and that is whatever girl I do date, she will be strong, because I don't want to have to worry too much when she goes on a mission. That and the right amount of muscle on her. Being real thin may be nice on a civilian, but on a kunoichi, it isn't very appealing. I like athletic girls." And with that, the bell rang, sending the girls to class with something to think about for the rest of the day. The rest of the day was spent showing them that he probably was trained by who he said he was, as he excelled in the entire field test. Making one duck, but Emo Pants realized that his Rookie of the Year wasn't going to be so easy anymore. When class finally ended, Naruto headed to the Hokage's office, which was a good way to get rid of all the fangirls now chasing after him. As he entered the office, he saw the Sandaime and Jiraiya still catching up. Naruto, how was your first day of school?" Sandaime spoke up. "It was great, Gigi. At first they were mad that I was joining them the last year, but after I told them that I've trained with Pervy Sage here my whole life, everyone shut up. Plus I ended the day having a fan club of girls. I'm already better than you were, Pervy Sage, according to Bachan." The boy finished, leaving Sarutobi wondering who Bachan was, so he looked at Jiraiya. "Tsunade," he said. "She lets him get away with calling her that?" Sandaime said. "I've been trying to figure out how he gets away with that for years now. Dumb luck, I guess." Sensei, you have no idea. You know Tsunade's luck when it comes to gambling. Sandame nodded. When the kid's around her, she always has a winning streak, with nothing bad happening in her future. You'd be amazed at how he does on scratchers. The toad Sanine finished. Hey Gigi, where am I living at? Cause I know he's not staying with all the research that needs be done with that deadline coming up. Both older men laughed at this while Saratobi gave the boy the keys to his apartment while saying his finale goodbyes to his godfather. Hey Gaki, I'll be back in time for the Chunin exams. I expected to see you put on a new vest that day, alright? The white-haired man said. Believe it, the young boy said before he left the office. When he came outside, he saw one girl still outside waiting on him. It was the only other blonde in his class, Yamanaka Ino. He was a little shocked at seeing her outside, but he didn't let show it. How's it going, Ino-chan? What are you doing here? I'm fine, I just wanted to talk and get to know you better, and show you I'm not as fickle as those other bitches, she said in an innocent voice. What were you doing in the Hokage's office anyway? Oh, I was just saying goodbye to Pervy Sage and finding out from Gigi where I live. This note he gave me says where my new apartment is. The only problem is that I don't know my way around too much, so he said just look for the flower shop. Do you know where that is? He replied, scratching the back of his head in slight embarrassment. That means you're by my house. My family owns the only flower shop in the village. Do you think you can show me where I'm going then? Of course, she said as they started walking down the street, talking the whole way. So there's something I was wondering, who's Gigi? Ino asked, curiosity getting to her. That's easy, Gigi is the Hokage. He's always been like a grandfather to me. Well, I guess that makes sense. Ino paused, thinking of the next question she wanted to ask. Also, since you've trained with Jiraiya-sama, have you ever met Lady Tsunade? You mean Bachan? Of course she's fun when she's not stumbling around drunk off sake, or on another one of her losing streaks. To say that Ino was shocked that someone could get away with calling Lady Tsunade Bachan, a drunk and gambling addict, was unheard of if what her dad had told her was true about her strength and temper. You called Lady Tsunade Bachan and lived to tell about it. People always ask me that whenever I tell them about that, but I guess since she always gets on a hot streak when I'm around, she calls me her own little good luck charm. Well, considering that you call some of the most powerful shinobi in the world by funny nicknames, might just throw some people off a little bit, Ino said. She pointed out Naruto's apartment, and Naruto offered to walk her home. Well, this is my house, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, by Naruto-kun. She gave him a kiss on the cheek and ran inside. Naruto stood outside for about 5 minutes with his hand on his cheek before he went home. When he got to his apartment, he was amazed at the size. It was a 2-bedroom with the spare room turned into a study. Inside there had scrolls on his elemental chakras for wind, water, and lightning. Also had some of his father's and mother's clan scrolls along with their diaries. He was in love with his kitchen since it was stocked full of ramen. His master bedroom had the most comfortable bed, so after he took a shower, he decided to sleep. The school year had went by pretty fast, and Naruto could have challenged Sasuke for the Rookie of the Year, but he had his pranks and the friends he made, not to mention to Hinata's dismay. Ino had made her move early and started taking her training serious. She had put some extra muscle on while during that time, and Naruto was in Inoichi's good graces for getting Ino to take being a shinobi serious. Although he thought he would shit himself when the elder blonde told him he would scramble his brain like an egg if he hurt his Heim. One of the things that he was getting tired of was some of his senseis were trying to ruin his scores. So on graduation day, he went to go see the Hokage. Hey Gigi, I got a problem with some of my senseis, especially Mizuki team. What seems to be the problem with them then? Sandame said. The problem is I think they found out about the QB, and because of that they keep messing with all of my exams trying to get me to fail, and Kurama doesn't like it one bit. He's starting to get pissed. You know, it still surprised me that you made friends with QB. Flashback. So Jiraiya, does the boy know about his tenant? Are you kidding me? Kurama has been his best friend throughout the whole trip. Are you kidding me? Nope. The kid found a way to insult her pride. Second flashback. Pervy Sage, why the hell do I gotta bother with this bullshit meditation? Teach me something cool again, or at least let me work on the Rasengan some more. Listen here, Gaki, the idea of this is so that you can get a better grasp of all the power that you do have. So shut the fuck up and do as I say. Stupid old-ass pervert. A then 8-year-old Naruto muttered before a fist was smashed him on the top of his skull. Mindscape. Where the hell am I? Looks like a sewer. As Naruto walked down the path, he ran into a room with dim lighting and high walls with a cage on the side that had a small paper on it that said seal. So this must be where that fox bastard stays at inside of me. Hey, you dumb fucking fox, get out here. There's some shit we need to talk about. Soon after that, a large mouth full of teeth appeared, followed by blood-red eyes. Insolent little kid, how dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who you are talking to? Yeah, great demon lord and all that other bullshit. But my dad sealed your furry ass inside me, so it doesn't really matter. Just wait, kid, when I get out of here, I'll devour your little ass nice and slowly, so you feel every bit pain. Your big ass ain't going anywhere. You're forgetting one major thing, and that is that the whole world thinks you're dead, and if I die, you die. So the way I see it, you could let me draw on your power whenever I feel like, and let everyone think you're dead. Or you can work with me, and you can still go down as the greatest when I go down as the most powerful shinobi ever. Why would I bring myself to work with such a lower life form such as you? Well, since Nibi and Hachibi are considered the most powerful because they work with their vessels rather than fight with them all day, you can go down as the great demon bitch or still the lord. So I'll let you think about it for a while, then I'll come back. As he was about to leave, he remembered one more thing. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. If you don't agree, you had better hope my Kekai Genkai doesn't wake up, cause then I'll just take it. In second flashback. A few days later, the kid tells me I don't have to worry about Kyuubi anymore because he struck a deal with him. Jiraiya said. So what exactly did this deal encompass? That way we know what to expect when he decides to use it. The Sandaime said. Well, he said that we should expect him to be taller than the average shinobi, probably around my height. So 6 feet 3 inches to 6 feet 5 inches. His agility has increased, along with his speed and strength. He also got access to his elemental affinities already. And to top it all off, he's learned how to enhance all his senses with the fox. When he uses it to upgrade his smell, hearing, and vision, it's hard for even me to sneak up on him. It's almost like having an Inuzuka and Hyuga rolled into one. And that's all part of his DNA now. So we get a new Kekai Genkai out this too. That does sound like it would be a great deal for us. So where would you put his skills at? Well, his chakra level is Kage level. His control, on the other hand, is at low Chunin level. His speed, I would have to say low Jounin, and his stealth is at AMBU levels. If you don't believe me about his stealth, just wait till he starts pulling his pranks. And his stamina is in a class of its own. Interesting. So how would you put his taijutsu, since I know how much you enjoy using your fist? If anyone stands a chance against him, it would be Guy's pupils that I heard about. Sounds like the Chunin exams will be very interesting this year. End flashback. In that case, then if anything strange happens, let me know right after class. You got that, Naruto, right after. I get it, but can I at least have some kind of fun this time, because I haven't let loose in a long time? I'll think about it, now leave. When he went to school, it started out like a normal day. He talked to Ino and the rest of his friends. And once class started, he noticed things weren't right from the start. To start off the day was his written exam, and just like what was expected, Mizuki put a Jinjutsu on his test. He dispersed it and passed. When it came to the taijutsu, that's when he got to have fun. When he saw some of his friends, he decided that he was finally going to show off a little bit. Hey Kiba, you ready for this test? Cause you know I'm going to kick your ass in this. Naruto said. Man, I knew blondes were stupid, but I didn't know it was this bad. There's no way you'll do better than me. What was that, dog boy? Yelled Ino at the brown-haired boy's remark. Besides, if Naruto-kun says that he'll do better than you, then you can believe that he will. And just how the hell does he expect to learn that quickly? Kiba said with a smirk on his face. Has it ever occurred to you that I just might be holding back so the emo team over there doesn't get his feelings hurt? Naruto said with a smug grin on his face. Kiba looked at him like he was crazy before retorting back to his answer, as if anyone would purposely do badly throughout the year. You'll see by the end of the day. Besides, did you actually think that you were smarter than Shika? Was all the blonde would say before Iriko walked into the classroom. All right, everyone sit down and be quiet. We have a lot to do today. When the class didn't settle down, he decided to use his patented big head jutsu. I said sit down and shut up. The class promptly quieted down. Now, as I was saying, we don't have a lot of time to play around today. So everyone please go outside, and we will start with the taijutsu part of the exam. With that, the entire class filed outside to the ring to get ready for the test. Once outside, Irika gave off the rules. It was simple: last 3 minutes in the ring with Mizuki-sensei. As the class went through the test, everyone did just how they were expected to, and it was no surprise that he took it easy on Sasuke to make sure he lasted the full time limit. Figures, was all Naruto said when it was over. Then it was finally his turn. Good luck, Naruto-kun. Thanks, Inoheim, but this shouldn't be that hard, he replied back. As he entered the ring, Ino was approached by Sakura. Hey pig, you can stop acting like you like that baka, Naruto, just so Sasuke-kun will notice you, cause it's not gonna work. The pink-haired girl said. For the last time, forehead, I don't care about Sasuke like that. You can have him. He doesn't even pay attention to us girls, so why should I waste my time with a loner like that? You take that back, pig. Make me, forehead. Upon seeing this, Irika ran over to break up the girls, and Mizuki saw his chance to make the demon brat look stupid. So he used a Shushin to appear behind Naruto once he turned his back. The only problem was that the blonde saw it and used his own to get behind him and kick him in the back. Upon hearing a scream, the rest of the class turned their attention onto the fight. Once he got up, Naruto got into his stance in which he stood sideways with his feet constantly moving and his forearms moving up and down the whole time. Having never seen this stance before, Mizuki had to voice his opinion. What the hell kind of stance is that? It's called Jeet Kuen Do, way of the intercepting fist. It's what pervy sage has been teaching me since I could walk. And with that, the young Jinchuriki shot at his sensei, giving him a hard knee to the gut, causing him to double over. After that, he followed it with a kick to the face with 3 quick rib shots and another kick to the back of the knees. When Mizuki hit the mat, Naruto paused like he was going to give him a chance to stand back up, before he grinned again and gave a mean sidestep kick to his face, knocking him out. As the blonde turned around, he had the sense to at least look somewhat embarrassed as everyone stared at their unconscious sensei and the blonde standing over him. The silence was broken by the president of the Naruto fan club at that moment. I told you, Kiba, that Naruto-kun would have no problem doing better than you, Ino said, causing Kiba to grumble something about no at all loudmouth blondes. Irika was the second one to break the silence. All right, class, it's time to move on to the obstacle course, and I'll meet you there. And so the rest of the day continued like that, with Sasuke getting the high score only for Naruto to get higher than him afterwards. What is it that makes the dobe so strong, and why don't I have that power? I'm the last Uchiha, and it's me who has to avenge my clan, Sasuke thought. Okay, class, we're gonna break for lunch, and when we come back, we're gonna start with the ninjutsu part of the exam, Irika said as he dismissed the class. And soon as they were dismissed, Naruto was out of the window and headed for his favorite place in the village. So there he sat on top of the 4th head at Hokage Mountain. He had always thought that place brought him closer to his father. So what do you think, Dad? I told you that I was going to be the greatest shinobi ever. I just really wish that you and Mom were here to see me right now. The young blonde sighed before looking up into the sky. You can count on one thing, though. And that is, even if the village doesn't see as the hero you wanted them to see me as now, they will by the time I'm done with this place. So there he sat, wondering how proud he was making his dad so he could show everyone and restore his own clan. After sitting there for about half an hour, he headed back to the academy, but not before yelling loud enough for the entire village to hear him. Believe it. All right, class, when I call your names, come into the room and we'll finish the last test. Just remember, if you don't pass, you will have to stay another year, or you can go to civilian schools, but just do your best, Irika said as he left the class and started calling of names. Once he left, whereas the rest of the class decided to talk to each other, only 2 students had the same idea. Naruto had sat next to Shikamaru, and both put their heads on the desk. Troublesome. I can't wait for this to just be over. Like I said, troublesome. So with that, they both just slept till their name was called. Once Naruto was called into the other room, he walked in, still rubbing his eyes when he got in. Irika looked at him with an annoyed look, while Mizuki had a look of pure hatred in his eyes. Okay, Naruto, so the first thing that we want you to do is give us a substitution. So he looked around the room and switched places with a chair. Very good. Now can you hinge into one of us? It didn't take Naruto long to decide who he would hinge to. So he puts his hands into the ram seal and transformed into a perfect version of Mizuki with the footprint across his face and all. The rest of the proctors got a small chuckle out of that little trick, except for one. "All right, Naruto, now just give us 2 bushins, and we'll be done here," Iruka said. With that, he put his fingers in the cross seal and said, "Kage Bushin no Jutsu." And out came 2 perfect Kage Bushins, all 3 with a big fox grin on their face. Mizuki stared for a second, then asked, "How the hell do you know how to do that jutsu?" "The forbidden scroll in Gigi's office, he let me look at it once." "Well, that's very impressive, Naruto, that you can do Jounin level jutsu. Congratulations, you passed." With that, Iruka handed Naruto his Heidi 8, and he went back into the classroom, followed by Iruka. "All right, class, that's it for today. Come back tomorrow and find out about team placement, and for all those that pass, congratulations on becoming Konoha Genin." After that, everyone left talking with each other. "Hey Kiba, didn't I tell you I was gonna kick your ass today?" "Shut up, you got lucky today. Every baka has to have at least one day of good fucking luck." "So you call getting the highest score on every test with the exception of the written test, because I chose to train instead of study all day and not train like that pink-haired banshee, just dumb luck?" "That's exactly what I'm calling it." "Then I guess Akamaru is smarter than you since he can tell the difference between luck and skill. I'm telling you it's better for you if just admit that I'm better than you." "There's no way in hell that you're better than me." "Well, according to the scores for today, it proves that Naruto-kun is better than you, dog breath." Ino butted into the conversation. "Thank you, Inoheim." "You're welcome, Naruto-kun." Right before they were about to leave the academy, Mizuki called Naruto over to him. "What is it, Mizuki-sensei? If it's about today, I'm sorry. I just thought you could take a small joke." Inwardly, Mizuki was pissed. How can this little brat give me this half-assed apology like that? But being the shinobi that he was, he kept a calm face and just laughed it off. "No, that's not it. I just wanted to try and help you by telling you there's a way so that you can choose your own team." "Really, Mizuki-sensei? What do I have to do?" "I'll do anything to make sure I'm not on the same team Sakura and the team." "Well, that's simple. All you have to do is steal the forbidden scroll from the Hokage's office and bring it to me in the woods. So if I do this, I can make sure that the pink-haired banshee and duck but aren't on my team." "That's it. Just meet me at the old shed out in the forest." "You can count on me." With that, Naruto ran off with Mizuki smirking at his plan. "He'll do this for me, and then I can kill him and get the scroll all for myself and leave this village," he thought. But what he didn't know was that Naruto saw straight through his plan and went to go tell the Hokage what was about to happen. There was a knock on his office door. "Enter," said the Sandame, and in came his favorite blonde. "On Naruto, to what do I owe the pleasure for today?" "Hey Gigi, I just came here to tell you that Mizuki-sensei is trying to set me up." "How?" "He wants me to steal the forbidden scroll and bring it to him at the old shed out in the forest, where my guess is he plans to just kill me and leave." "So what do you want to do about this then?" "I say we do what he thinks is going to happen, and I beat the shit out of him up and down the forest." Naruto Mizuki is a highly trained chunin. What makes you think that you can beat him all on your own?" Sarutobi asked with a little concern in his voice. "Come on, Gigi, pervy sage, maybe a little bit on the weird side, but he didn't become a Sannin for no reason, and he taught my dad. And he's been my sensei my whole life, so of course I can handle just one average chunin by myself. Besides, do you have such little faith in the student that you trained yourself?" The old man sighed and shook his head at the 12-year-old in front of him. Definitely Kushina's son. Hiruzen thought to himself. "Very well then, but I'll be watching and have an ANBU squad ready to pick him up or help you if you need it." The third added, just to make sure nothing went wrong. And with that, Naruto left the office to go get ready for later on tonight. Later that night, Iruka heard someone knocking at his door, so when he answered it, he was surprised to see Mizuki waiting for him, looking a little out of breath. "Mizuki, what are doing here at this time of the night?" he asked. "It's Naruto. He stole the forbidden scroll and was last seen running into the forest." "Why the hell would he do that?" "I don't know, just get dressed, and maybe we can catch him." And with that, he left with Iruka quickly putting on his clothes and heading out. The whole time he was thinking, "Naruto, what did you go and have to do something like this for?" Meanwhile, out at the shed, Naruto had just arrived and took the scroll off his back. "Might as well see if I can learn something new." while I'm waiting for that dumbass. With that, he started reading till he found something that he liked. Hey, what's this Kagebushin Bakuwa? Turns Kagebushins into bombs like exploding tags. Wonder why Pervy Sage never taught me this one, doesn't seem too hard to learn. And with that, he started to practice this jutsu. Probably because while it's bad to teach a child how to make explosives, it would just be reckless to teach you of all people how to make those things of yours to blow up, knowing how many you can make. The voice of the fox rang in the back of Naruto's mind. I guess you might have a point, Furball. How many times do I have to tell you not to call me that? You sorry, insolent little excuse of a baboon. The great demon chided as it turned around and went to sleep. About 45 minutes later, he was found by Irika. Naruto, the one said, turned his head to see who called out for him. Do you have any idea what you just did? Damn it, Irika-sensei, what is he doing here? Oh well, might as well keep on playing the part. Irika-sensei, what are you doing here? And where is Mizuki-sensei? Mizuki, what does he have to do with you stealing the forbidden scroll? Naruto looked at him with a confused look. He has everything to do with this. He told me that if I steal the scroll and bring it out here to meet him, then I would be able to choose who I want on my team. What? After hearing this, Irika started to think and was about to say something when he heard another voice. Too bad, Irika, I guess I'll have to kill you too? And with that, he unleashed a barrage of shuriken at them both, including his Fuma shuriken. Scared for his student's life, Irika jumped in front of them and took the Fuma to the back and 3 more regular shuriken to the legs. Irika-sensei, Naruto yelled. What did you do that for? You could have killed yourself. That's what the Hokage is talking about when he mentions the will of fire. What kind of sensei would I be if I didn't do my all to protect my students? Isn't that cute, but you don't have to lie to the boy, Irika. Come on, you know you hate him and have more reason than almost anyone else in the village. You know what he is. Haven't you ever wondered why the rest of the village treats you the way they do? Mizuki asked, refocusing his energy on the blonde genin. No, Mizuki, you know you can't say that. Irika yelled. It's simple, that's because the Yondaime didn't kill the Kyuubi. He sealed it inside of you. That's right, you killed his parents and countless others in the village. Naruto stood there with his head down, shaking furiously. Irika had his head down, and while Mizuki was laughing, thinking about how easy this was going to be. Meanwhile, Naruto was busy talking with the Kyuubi. Can you believe that dumbass thinks I don't know this already? Does he think I'd train with Pervy Sage all this time and not know this already? Kit, you know as well as I do that he's a fucking retard. But what do you say let's have some with him? Let me guess, you want to get your hands on him? I wouldn't complain if you let me. Well, that sounds like a compelling enough argument to me. You win. Back outside of his mind, Mizuki was getting ready to throw his second Fuma shuriken when he heard something that he didn't expect to hear, neither did Irika. They heard the little blonde boy laughing. What the hell's so funny, you little runt? Like I told you at the beginning of the year, I trained with Pervy Sage my whole life. And do you actually think he wouldn't tell me about the Kyuubi? I've known since I was 4. But I have a surprise for you. And that is the Kurama's had enough of your shit, and he wants to show you what the real meaning of fear is. And with that, a strange red chakra started to form around Naruto. Starting off at his head, 2 long fox ears appeared. His deep blue eyes started to flicker red until they were red and slitted. His whisker marks became more defined. After that, his canines became elongated, and his nails turned into claws, the finishing touch being the tail that formed. He then hunched over onto all 4s that made him really look like a fox. Both his senseis stared in shock, wondering had the Kyuubi been freed. It wasn't until he talked when Irika realized that he was still in control. So sensei, who's the one that's scared now, and you're the one that hurt Irika-sensei, and for that I'm gonna hand you your ass again before the ANBU get here. You see, I'm not as stupid as you think. I told the old man about your plan earlier today, so there's a squad waiting to pick you up, but after I'm done with you. With that, the blonde shot forward, delivering a devastating elbow to the soft spot on Mizuki's chest. The blow was so hard that Irika could hear his sternum crack, making him cough up some blood while emptying the contents of his stomach. He immediately followed that with an uppercut, sending him in the air like a rag doll. And finally, to finish him off, he grabbed him by his ankles and flung him to the ground, creating a giant crater where he landed. Once Naruto landed, he started to suppress the Kyuubi's chakra and went to go check on Irika. Sorry that you had to take that shuriken, Irika-sensei, but I had to keep up the act so that I could catch him. That's okay, Naruto, you did what you had to complete the mission even when it didn't go as planned. That's the mark of a true shinobi. Besides, this isn't that bad, Iruka said with small smile on his face. After that, the Yanbiyu landed, and to take Mizuki away. The women in the cat mask came to check on the two. Good work, Uzumaki. Iruka will carry you to the hospital. Okay, just be careful, I'm injured here, he said with a small chuckle. Uzumaki, the Hokage, says for you to just go home. He'll talk to you tomorrow after team assignments. Naruto nodded, said his goodbye to Iruka, and turned around to go home with a smile on his face. The next day, when Naruto woke up, saying only thing as he looked at his alarm clock. Shit. Realizing that he overslept, he rushed out of bed, but not before getting his feet tangled in the sheets, resulting in a giant thud sound in the apartment. After righting himself and telling the fur ball to stop laughing at him, he jumped straight in the shower. When he was done with his shower, he threw on some clothes, made a quick sandwich, and rushed out of his apartment. He ended up running at top speed to class, hoping he wasn't going to be too late. The young blonde kept thinking one thing as he raced across the rooftops. I'm so fucked. Meanwhile, at the classroom, some of the students were wondering where he was. Figures he wouldn't show up. Guess he just realized that he couldn't cut it. Kiba said, "Told you, pig. No one's greater than Sasuke-kun. Naruto's just some little scared baka." Sakura said, reinforcing what Kiba said. Wait a minute, did I just agree with Dog Boy? She thought. Hey, even someone like him can realize the obvious. Inner Sakura shot back. Naruto-kun probably just overslept because he got to sleep late, Ino said, defending her fellow blonde. Shortly after that, Iruka limped into the classroom, which got everyone's attention. Iruka-sensei, are you alright? What happened to you? Sakura asked. Nothing that a few days' rest won't take care of. Thank Kami that it's the end of the school year. He thought to himself, looking forward to few days of sleeping in. Now is everyone here? He asked, looking around the class. Everyone, but that baka Naruto. Can you believe he would actually be late? The pink-haired girl said. Well, Sakura, he had a long night with the Hokage, so he probably just overslept. Ha, told you, forehead. Naruto-kun wouldn't be late without a good reason, Ino added. Right on cue, Naruto came running into the class with sweat dripping down his face. Sorry I'm late, Iruka-sensei. Before he could say anything else, he was cut off. That's okay, I didn't expect you to be on time today, that's why I came in a little later myself. So just go take your seat. With that, he went to his seat and sat down. All right, class, pay attention while I call out your names so that everyone hears what team you're on. Skip 1 through 6. Team 7, Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke. Yes, take that, pig. True love wins again, the pink-haired girl yelled out. As I was saying, the final member of Team 7 is Uzumaki Naruto, Jonin-sensei Kakashi Hitaki. Not that baka, Sakura said. No, not the emo TME and the pink-haired banshee. Kami, what did I ever do to deserve this punishment? The blonde said, slamming his head onto his desk, causing the entire class to start laughing. Shikamaru and Choji looked at Naruto, and the pineapple-haired boy replied with the only answer he could. Troublesome. Yeah, sorry about that, man. Choji added. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Suppressing a chuckle, Iruka continued on. Okay, Team 8, Aburame Shino, Hyuga Hinata, and Inazuka Kiba, Jonin-sensei Yuhi Kurenai. Team 9 is still in circulation, so Team 10 is Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru, and Yamanaka Ino, Jonin-sensei Asuma Sarutobi. With that, everyone broke off into their teams to get to know each other better, while Naruto just went to sleep. Upon seeing this, Sakura immediately yelled at Naruto. Naruto, you baka, what the hell are you doing going to sleep? What if our sensei comes in the door right now? Sakura, first, there's no need to yell. Second, didn't you hear the name of our sensei, Hitaki Kakashi? That guy would be late to his own funeral. She was about to yell something back when a bearded jonin with a cigarette in his mouth spoke up. He's right, you know, you might as well save your energy if you're waiting on Kakashi. How's it going, Naruto? Staying out trouble, I hope. I'm doing fine, and I stay out of enough trouble, Sigs. Now, if you excuse me, I have a nap to get back to. All right, you do that, Team 10, you're with me. The red-eyed woman next to him spoke up after that. And Team 8, you're with me. With that, the 6 genin got up to leave with their teams, with Ino turning around to say bye to Naruto before she left. Bye, Naruto-kun. Bye, Inoheim, have fun with Sigs. As time passed, everyone else in the room left, and soon it was just Team 7 waiting on their sensei. Sakura was complaining the entire time they were waiting and was starting to get on both boys' nerves. Just when they thought they couldn't take any more of her complaining, they were saved by the door opening and Sakura yelling at the top of her lungs. "You're late, sensei." "Okay, so my first impression is I hate you guys. Meet me on the roof," Kakashi said. He then closed the door, and the three genin left the room headed for the roof. It took the three genin about 3 minutes to get there. Kakashi was busy trying to figure out how he was going to use his new team. He was a little frustrated since he knew that he had to pass this group of genin for 3 reasons. The first 2 reasons were the most important ones to him because of Naruto and Obito. After everything that happened to him in his life, he had refused to let down his sensei and deceased teammate by not training Naruto and Sasuke to the fullest of his capabilities. The third reason he could really care less about, and that was that the council wanted him to train the last Uchiha. He couldn't stand the fact that they encouraged him to leave the demon child as useless as possible in hopes that he would die in the field. The other thing that was bothering him was how he could make this team work. He had their files, so he had an idea. Since he had spent 4 months a year, and the last year before Naruto came back, he knew that his file didn't match his skill level. Thanks to the time spent with him, he also knew his personality and felt good since the boy had embraced his feelings of teamwork. But what he wasn't sure about was Sasuke and Sakura. The Uchiha did have great potential, but the brooding he always did was a problem, along with the "I'm better than everybody" attitude made it hard for others to work with him. Then there was Sakura. The girl was smart, top of her class, but less than average reserves, no real taijutsu skills, and even though she was listed as a Jinjutsu type, she knew pretty much nothing. The only real thing that she had was her near-perfect chakra control. Kakashi sighed. Why couldn't I get the Yamanaka girl? But who am I to break up the Inoshikacho trio? After that, his 3 new charges made it to the roof and sat down in front of him. All right, you 3, so I can get a better idea of you, why don't you each stand up and tell me something about you? You know your likes, dislikes, and dreams. Pinky, why don't you go first? Sakura gave an annoyed look at being called Pinky, then did as she was asked. Kakashi-sensei, shouldn't you tell us something about yourself first, so we have a better idea of you too? Okay, well, my name is Hitaki Kakashi. My likes are none of your business. My dislikes, well, that doesn't really matter right now. And my goals, I don't really feel like telling you. Is that good enough for you? Shooting her sensei another annoyed look, she reluctantly started. Well, my name is Haruno Sakura. My likes are, looks at Sasuke and squeals. My dislikes are Ino Pig and Naruto Baka. And my dreams are, looks at Sasuke and squeals. The pink-haired girl said. And you call him a pig? Naruto mumbled under his breath. Kakashi heard that and gave an eye smile to the blonde. All right, you. Why don't you go next? The silver-haired Jonin said, pointing towards Sasuke. HMPF, my name's Uchiha Sasuke. My likes and my dislikes don't really matter, and my dreams. I don't have any dreams, it's more of an ambition, and that is to kill a certain someone and restore my clan. The last Uchiha said. You have to talk to girls to be able to do that last part, team. The blonde mumbled again under his breath again. Once more, Kakashi I smiled at Naruto before speaking. Okay, Blondie, since you have so much to say, why don't you finish this off so we can go home? Finally, the names Uzumaki Naruto. My likes are ramen, training, Inoheim, Gigi, Pervy Sage, Bachan, and Shizune-chan. My dislikes are people who don't like others because of things out of their control, those that become a ninja for the wrong reasons, and the 3 minutes you have to wait for instant ramen. And my dream is to one day become the greatest Hokage ever. Believe it. I see. Now that that's over, meet me at Training Ground 7 tomorrow at 6 in the morning for your Genin test. Kakashi said, getting ready to leave before he was interrupted. But sensei, we already took our test to become Genin. Sakura pointed out in an obvious tone of voice. Actually, that test was just to see if you had the basic skills to become Genin. Your senseis have the final say if we believe that you can survive in the field by a test, and that is up to us to determine the test and what we're looking for. The man whose silver hair defied gravity said. So like I said, 6 in the morning, be there sharp. Oh, and don't eat breakfast, you'll just throw it up, Johnny. Sakura paled at the thought of what could he have them doing for him to say don't eat breakfast. Sasuke had a whole new resolve. He wasn't going to let some loudmouth dobe and some over-obsessed fangirl stop him from doing what he must do. Then there was everyone's favorite blonde who gradually just got up, flipped off the roof, and left to go to the flower shop. When he arrived at the flower shop, Ino was at the counter looking at a magazine when she heard the bell ring. Welcome to the Yamanaka flow. Oh, Naruto-kun, what are you doing here? Just thought I stopped by and see how the prettiest girl in Konoha was doing, and I also wanted to know what you thought about Sigs. HMPF, I do see why you call him Sigs. The only time he doesn't smoke is probably when he sleeps. But anyway, he seems like a nice enough guy, and he said he requested to have us, so I don't mind it that much. And to answer your first question, I'm doing just fine now that you're here. So how do you think it's going to be having Forehead and the team on your team? The first couple of weeks is going to be hard because we have Kakashi and Ai-san, and his main focus is on teamwork, and I know it's going to take a long time before those two realize that. Hell, I'm just hoping I can get it through their heads before he fails us tomorrow. Ni-san. Yeah, while I was out training with Pervy Sage, he came out to train me in ninjutsu for 4 months a year since I was 5 and all of last year. And since he was a very good friend of my dad, and he said he was the closest thing he had to a father figure, and looks at me as his otudo. Oh, so why would he fail you then? For one, he has never passed a genin team ever. That's why he could afford to help my training so much. And second, like I said, teamwork. The team's too into himself to realize it, and Pinky thinks he can do no wrong, and that's all I ever do, so we might just fail, even though he doesn't want us to. Sure does makes me happy that Shika, Choji, and I have been friends since we were little. Wait a minute, I thought you didn't know who your dad was, so how do you know that he was your sensei's friend? I just said that my dad's not important because he made so many enemies during the Third War that they banned me from telling people he was my dad until I make chunin or they think I'm old enough to defend myself. So Naruto-kun, can you tell me who your dad was? The platinum blonde asked in her sweetest voice. Who knows, you might be able to find out before everyone else if you act right. What do you mean if I act right? I am Yamanaka, I know the best damn woman in this village. She finished yelling by crossing her arms under her breast. Naruto was now on the floor, clenching his sides, laughing hard with tears coming down his face. Needless to say, Ino didn't take kindly to being the butt of his joke. When he was almost done laughing and started to stand up, she promptly punched him on the top of his head, sending him right back to the floor seeing stars. That will teach you to crack jokes at my expense. Okay, I'm sorry, but that was just too good to pass up. Anyway, just meet me at the top of the Hokage monument at 6:30, and I'll explain everything. He said, still trying to suppress his chuckle, standing back up. Why should I meet you there, Baka? It's called a date, Heim. I thought you might want to brag about your first date with the future Hokage was the place where they'll immortalize my face forever. Upon hearing the word date, everything else he said went unheard as Ino slipped off into her mind. Finally, Naruto-kun decided to ask me out. I was starting to think he was never going to ask. She was brought out her mind by Naruto, waving his hand in her face, trying to get her attention. Ino, I know Heim. Oh, what was that, Naruto-kun? I said, do we have a date or not, because I'm pretty sure Hinata might wanna. He never got to finish that sentence as his head got the second nod of the day. Of course we have date. But don't ever joke around like that again. You and Hinata don't make me laugh. Okay, I'll see you later, and we're something nice, okay? As the whiskered-faced blonde left the flower shop, Ino was left daydreaming, that is, until her mother brought her out of her thoughts. So is my Ino-chan finally going to get started on bringing me plenty of grandbabies? Mother, I'm just saying it's never too early to hope. Besides, you and Naruto-kun would make such beautiful babies. Either way, that will have to wait till I at least make A and B you before something like that will ever happen. Now, if you excuse me, I've got a date to get ready for. As she left, she couldn't help but think about what her mother had said. Naruto-kun and I would make the best-looking babies this village has ever seen, though. Later that night, as Naruto stood on top of the monument waiting for Ino to show up, he was talking to the Kurama about his decision on what to tell her. Are you really going to tell her everything, Kit? You know what could happen if you do. I know, but she deserves to know the truth. And I can't let her go through the things that she will have to without her knowing why. I understand about telling her about your father, but I'm a completely different story. Come on, you didn't think that I thought about a way around that already? That's going to be a lot easier than I thought at first. Why do I have a bad feeling about this, Kit? So tell me what's going to make this so much easier. Naruto was about to answer when he heard Ino's voice calling out to him. You'll find out soon enough. Naruto-kun, I see why you wanted me to meet you here. This is beautiful. The platinum blonde said as she wrapped her hands around his waist. Yeah, but not as much as Yohime. He said as he turned his head to kiss Ino, who felt like she was in heaven at the highest place in the village with the boy she cared for the most for. Ino was wearing white summer dress with Lily's print along with white-heeled sandals. She also had her hair down and hung down to her waist. I come here whenever I just need to think and clear my head. Plus, it makes me feel like I'm closer to my dad when I'm here. Is that because we're so high up? That and one other thing, but we can get to that later. I didn't spend the last week at Choji's house learning how to cook all your favorite foods just for them to get cold, so let's eat. As the two blondes sat and ate, they talked about their friends and what they wanted to do throughout their shinobi careers and along that nature. As the sun began to set, he got up and sat behind Ino to watch the sun set. He took a deep breath to calm his nerves and spoke. You know that other reason that I said this place brings me closer to my dad? She nodded. Well, that reason is that we're sitting on top of his head. Ino laughed at that for a second, what he said not registering in her head right away. That's funny, Naruto-kun, but if we were sitting on your dad's head, that would Maya. As she turned around to look at him with wide eyes, the gears in her head started to turn. That would mean you're Yandame's son? But how could that be? None of the history books ever said anything about him having a son. They all said that he was the last of the Namikaze clan. That's the same reason why I'm not mentioned Ino. After the QB attacked, the village was in a weakened state. Think about it, we had just finished the Third Great War, and then that happened, we were vulnerable, and the last thing that our enemies, especially Iwa, needed to know was that Yandame had an orphan son walking around the village. My dad had a lot of enemies in the village also, so when he married my mom, it was in secret with the only people that knew, being Gigi, Pervy Sage, Bachan, Uchiha Itachi, Kakashi and Iasan, and the Ino Shikicho trio. Wait, my dad knew who you were the whole time and didn't tell me? Oh, he's so dead when I get home. Don't get mad at him, he did it as a favor to my dad. When he died, to make sure that no one found out about me, they were sworn in under penalty of death unless I tell someone. The rule is once I'm deemed strong enough to protect myself, I can take my father's last name. Well, I guess that makes sense. But Naruto-kun, there's something else that I wanted to ask you. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you want to know why the villagers treat me so bad. Yeah, I mean, sure, you've pulled some pretty great pranks that could make people pretty annoyed with you. But that doesn't mean that they should treat you the way they do. There's a reason for that too, but I think it would be a lot easier to show you than to tell you. I knew I had a bad feeling about this. Bastard-ass kid can't let me sleep in fucking peace. I want you to use your mind transfer jutsu on me. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. Ino looked at Naruto like he was crazy and was about to say something when she was cut off. Don't worry, this is something important that I want to share with you, and you're the only person in our age group that I trust enough to do this. So can you please just trust me and do this for me? He kissed her and looked her in her eyes, and all she could do was nod. She then put her hands together and said real softly, "Mind transfer jutsu." When she opened her eyes, she found herself in a sewer-like place and was starting to get a little scared until she heard Naruto's voice. "Follow me," was all he said as they started to walk. Naruto-kun, where are we? I've invaded mines before and no one's has ever looked like this. Well, that's because mines is a little different. You see, Haim, there was another reason why I was taken away from the village, and that was my dad didn't kill the QB like everyone was taught to believe. The truth is, no human can kill an immortal being of that much power. So the only thing that can be done is seal them away, so that their power can be harnessed to protect the country. It's something that has been done for years. I don't get it, why does everyone hate you though? That's because the kid's father was the first to ever seal me in such a public way. When Ino heard that voice, she turned around with the biggest look of fear as she saw a head with blood-red slitted eyes and the scariest set of teeth she had ever saw. Naruto-kun, what is that? Ino, I'm what you call a Jinchuriki, or power of human sacrifice. I'd like you to meet Kurama the QB. Don't worry, he can't get past that seal, and he's not that bad once you get to know him. Seeing the look of fear in her eyes, the QB turned to look at Naruto. I knew this was going to be a bad idea, kid. After hearing what he told her, and seeing how the two communicate so calmly, Ino started to calm down a little bit, and Naruto decided to continue. Hi, most of the villagers know that I'm the container of the QB. and they don't see me as a person. All they see is the demon, and that's why some of them call me Demon Child. I brought you here because I wanted you to know what you would be getting yourself into if you wanted to be more than friends with me. Some of the villagers might look at you the way they do me, or others might stop coming to your family store just because you are a demon lover. I care about you, Ino, and it would be selfish of me to hamper your life without you knowing the truth about why. Ino was quiet for a few minutes, and when she was about to speak, the QB did first. Girl, I would like to let you know that since the kid has been around you, it has been a lot more pleasant being in this village. And I can assure you of one thing, if you are the right one for the kit, I can assure you that your kits would usher in a whole new breed of shinobi, as you might call it, a Kekai Genkai. Hearing this made both blondes blush new shades of red. It also offered a new comfort to Ino as she thought. Naruto-kun has shared his deepest secret to me all because he wants me to choose how I live my life. This is what every girl dreams of, a guy who would put my own pleasure before his. Once that thought went through her head, she knew that her decision was easy. Naruto-kun, I don't care what the dumb villagers think about me. I care about you too, and any guy that's willing to lose me just to make sure that I'm happy is defiantly worth all of my attention, she said as she walked over to him and wrapped her arms around his neck. But you do know I am pretty bossy. Are you sure you want the job? They say that guys fall for girls like their moms, and from what everyone's told me, she was just as bossy. I'm sure she would have loved you, Haim. With that, they exited his mind, and Ino pulled him into a passionate kiss that only broke when she needed air. See, I always get what I want. Naruto brought her in for another passionate kiss, breaking apart when he needed air. So do I. After that, both blondes sat back, looked at the night view of the Konoha skyline during the warm summer night. After sitting underneath the stars for about another hour, they finally decided to pack up and head on home, which is when Ino voiced her opinion. Naruto-kun, I really don't feel like walking home, though it is a long walk, said Blonde, only smirked at the idea he had at hearing this. Don't worry, Haim, I have something that can remedy that. He then flashed through a few hand signs and yelled, summoning jutsu. With that, a giant plume of smoke appeared, and when it cleared, there stood a toad about 7 feet tall with a necklace that had the kanji for friendship on it. Ino, this is Gamaken. He's pretty much Pervy Sage's favorite summon. He doesn't talk much, though. I would have called mine, but he's too small to carry anyone. You'll meet him sooner or later. Let me guess if I act right, she said sarcastically. If you feel that way, I was just gonna say if we ever have any free time during the day. The look of embarrassment on Ino's face at insulting herself was priceless, Naruto thought, as he suppressed a chuckle and helped Ino onto the back of the toad. Now just hold on tight, this is the really fun part. You ready? She nodded. All right, Gamaken, to that house right there. Naruto pointed, and when the toad realized where they were going, he nodded and took a giant leap off of Hokage Monument. Ino let out an ear-piercing scream that could be heard throughout the village. For the next couple of weeks, villagers could only imagine what the demon child did, as all they heard was, Naruto-kun, I'm going to kill you. When they finally arrived at her house, they dismounted the toad, and Naruto told him he could go home. As they stood in front of her house, they leaned on the wall, embracing each other, not wanting the night to end. I had a wonderful time tonight, Naruto-kun. Me too, Haim. I'll set something else up as soon as I find out when I have the time, okay? He leaned in for a soft kiss on the lips and pulled away. Night, Haim, sleep well. I will, Naruto-kun, you do the same, was what she said as she entered her house and started to walk to her room, still in a dream state that she really didn't even completely come out of when her parents stared, talking. How was your date, princess? Inoichi asked with a slight tone of pain in his voice, even thinking that someone got to take his daughter out before he even got the chance to scare the shit out of him. It was perfect, Daddy. Great, then that means that I won't have to wait long for my grandbabies. Ino's mother chirped in. Honey, please don't joke like that. I still got to get over the fact that she's dating first. So, princess, what made the date so perfect? Inoichi asked his daughter as she was going up the stairs. We had a picnic at the top of Hokage Monument. Do you know that he spent time at Chosa's last week to find out how to make my favorite foods? Then we sat back and watched the sunset. It was when she was at her door that she got a great idea to get back at her dad. Oh yeah, he also told me he was Yandame's son and let me meet the QB. Night, Daddy. She trailed off as she closed her door and waited for his reaction. Oh, that seems like a pretty normal duh. He did what? was all she heard as she giggled while getting ready for bed. The next morning at 6 found Sasuke and Sakura waiting at Training Ground 7, waiting for Kakashi. Sakura was annoyed that her sensei wasn't there yet, and neither was Naruto. The only good thing that did come from this was that this gave her plenty of alone time with her precious Sasuke-kun, much to his annoyance. Meanwhile, everyone's favorite blonde was just starting to wake up and was headed for the shower. His time spent with Kakashi already let him know that if he said 6, he really meant 9, and was willing to bet everything he had that those two were there already and didn't learn their lesson from the day before. Once he got out of the shower, he made himself a light breakfast, just something that can handle a lot of running and still make it till lunch. It was going on 8 when he left his apartment and headed to the grounds. When he got there, it was just as he thought. His two teammates were already there looking hungry and pissed. Sasuke was lying on a tree, trying to ignore Sakura, and when she wasn't bothering him, she was busy pacing back and forth mumbling something incoherent. So seeing this, he just decided to conceal his chakra and hide in a tree. At 9 o'clock, Kakashi appeared in swirl of leaves. "Yo, was Al," he said before he was reminded why she was called a banshee. "You're late again, sensei. And so is Naruto Baka." Kakashi looked at her like she had grown a second head before answering. "Actually, Sakura, Naruto's not late. He's just hiding from you guys. I'm surprised you haven't noticed him yet." Hearing this, Sasuke decided to speak up, not wanting to believe that the dobe could have been here this whole time and he not notice. As if the dobe has enough skill to be here and neither one of us notice him. "Yeah, what Sasuke-kun said, that Baka's nowhere near that good." Kakashi, annoyed that anyone would talk about his sensei's son like that, and the kid that he came to see as a little brother, decided to have fun with his other two charges. He pointed to a tree, and once they both looked, he spoke. "All right, you can come out now, Naruto." A second later, the blonde fell out of the tree and started to walk over. Sasuke immediately spoke up after seeing him walking over. "How long have you been in the tree, dope? You must have just got there." "Actually, I've been in that tree for about an hour now, wondering what we were going to be doing. I was almost sure that the rookie of the year and top kunoichi of the class would be able, since I am the dobe after all. But since you couldn't, I guess that would make you two the dobe's team." Sakura interjected, not wanting him to have the last word. "But like I said, sensei, he was late, so he deserves to be punished." "Did I get here before Kakashi-sensei?" the blonde said with smug smile on his face. "Yes, but..." She was cut off before she could finish her sentence. "Then I wasn't late. How could I be late if I got here before the person we were waiting on?" Before anything else could be said, Kakashi put an end to the little bickering. "All right, that's enough of that. Now your test for today will be to take these bells off of me. You have 3 hours. If you don't complete this, then you all fail and will be sent back to the academy." "But sensei, there is only 2 bells, and there are 3 of us. What happens when we get them?" Sakura said, slightly confused. "Well, if you would let me finish, Pinky, I was about to get to that." Sakura looked down at her feet from embarrassment while their sensei continued. "Right, like I was saying, the one who doesn't get the bell will be tied to that post while your other teammates eat the lunch that I've brought for you, since I'm sure you're all pretty hungry." Listening closely, he heard 2 stomachs start to rumble, then turned, and I smiled at Naruto, knowing that's why he was late. "Okay, now I want you to come at me with the intent to kill me, because if you don't, then you will fail." Sakura was about to say something, but Kakashi shut her up. "Sakura, I've been a jonin since I was 12. I think I can handle myself against you 3. Now your test begins right about now." As the 3 disappeared into the trees, Kakashi chuckled and took out his Iko book and began to read as he thought. "I won't need to put this down until Otudo decides to show his face, and knowing him, he'll let me have some fun with the others first." While he walked around reading his book, the 3 genin stared at him, looking for the perfect opportunity to strike. Truthfully speaking, both Sasuke and Sakura were disappointed that Naruto didn't just jump out and attack him head-on like they thought he would. Once realizing that the distraction that they were hoping for wasn't going to come, Sasuke decided he would attack. He waited for Kakashi to turn his back, and when he did, he threw 3 kunai and 3 shuriken at him. Kakashi dodged them easily, then turned to where the projectiles had come from and said, "So there you are, Sasuke, thanks for saving me the trouble." Realizing that his position was given up, he decided that he would attack. He came charging out from the tree he was in with his right fist cocked back. Kakashi barely brought his book down under eye level and shook his head. Sasuke's punch missed, and he decided to follow that up with a left-footed roundhouse kick. That was a bad idea as it was caught, and he was flung across the field. He recovered with a backhand spring and using a chakra-enhanced jump did a few hand seals before saying, "Katan, Grand Fireball Jutsu." A large fireball came out of Sasuke's mouth headed straight for Kakashi, and it hit him dead on. Sakura let out a small squeal when she saw that happen accidentally, giving away her position. Sasuke landed with a smug smirk on his face, that is until he saw his burning sensei turn into a smoking log. As a shinobi, Sasuke, never let your guard down until you know your enemy is down, was all he heard as he was kicked in the back of the head. He was sent flying into a tree. He got back to his feet wobbly, and when he finally got his bearings back, he focused on where his sensei was. He was standing just where he had kicked him, face still in the book, free hand extended telling him to bring it. To say that he was pissed would be an understatement. Here was this lazy jonin who couldn't even show up on time taunting him in Uchiha. He would have to pay for this. He charged at him, this time striking with a jumping roundhouse, which was dodged easily again. Sasuke came at him with a flurry of punches and kicks, all which were dodged or blocked, with Kakashi never bring his head up from his book. Starting to get bored with his charge, Kakashi caught a right aimed at him, spun him around, and delivered a kick to the back. When Sasuke turned around, he was searching for his sensei and couldn't find him. He expected it to be like last time with standing right in front of him, but this time he was nowhere to be found. The problem was he had let his anger cloud his judgment. Because he had kept his cool, he would have noticed the chakra presence coming from beneath him. It was too late by the time he realized what was happening. He felt a pair of hands grab him by the ankles and pull him into the ground all the way up to his head. Doton, head decapitation jutsu. So it is obvious that you don't get the meaning of this test. So how about I let's sit here and think about where you went wrong and what you can do so you can pass the test, or it's back to the academy for you. You know they say the nail that sticks out is the one that gets hammered down. Kakashi then shot off into the trees. Throughout the entire fight, he knew both were watching and neither helped for different reasons. Sakura was because she wanted to see how good her precious Sasuke-kun would do, and when she realized that he was being beaten so easily, she started to realize how she paled in comparison. Naruto, on the other hand, just wanted to watch the show. In truth, the only thing he wanted was to get his one-on-one with his Zenai-san, and they both knew it just right now was not a good time to show off in front of his teammates. So he sat back and waited for the second show to begin. Around 5 minutes later, Kakashi found Sakura hiding behind a tree and got a very good idea. "What exactly are you hiding from, Sakura?" The pink-haired girl let out a loud shriek from seeing her sensei hanging above the tree she was behind. The next thing she knew, she was all alone in the forest again. "Oh my," she said as she desperately starting to look back and forth as if someone would help her. "Is somebody there? I think I felt something. What was it? What's going on?" It was then that she heard a voice and saw what she could only describe as her worst nightmare. "Sakura." Sasuke's voice came from behind her. "Sasuke-kun." She turned around with the utmost joy only to see him on his knees using a tree to support him. His body was littered with shuriken and kunai. "Sasakura, help me. Please help me," he said. Seeing this, a fear formed in her as she was violently shaking. Her emotions finally got the best of her as she let out yet another shriek and passed out. "You think you might have overdone it a bit." Kakashi was sitting in a tree watching the whole thing when he looked up across from him at the all-too-familiar voice. "I was starting to think that, but then again her file did say she was a Jinjutsu type. You know she's going to have to learn how to see through those things if she's going to make it. Besides, I thought she would help her precious Sasuke-kun," he said with a slight hint of sarcasm in his voice. 5 minutes at the river, give me time to wake this one up so she can dig the other out. Nice job on that one, by the way," Naruto said, looking at his Zenai-san. "I hope you can provide me more of a challenge than these other two ditto tudo. I'm almost done with my book." "Don't worry, the new one's not as good as that one anyway. But that one's not due out for another month." "Don't tell me." He didn't get to finish his question as Naruto hopped down to wake up his fallen teammate. There are certain times in Kakashi's life when he's known to be on time. When a new Ikaika comes out, when he's going on a date, and when he gets to assess how far his Otudo has come in his training. "So are you sure you're ready for this? I could take it easy on you if you want." "How dare you insult me like that, you pervert." That was all that needed to be said as the stare started. Kakashi pulled his Hideate up to reveal his Sharingan. He knew he was about to have some fun. A small gust of wind blew by after about 3 minutes of staring. A single leaf fell on the river, signaling the start. Shinobi Lesson Number 1. Taijutsu. Naruto swung first, starting with a shot aimed at his ribs, which Kakashi spun around and came with a backhanded closed fist aimed at the back of said blonde's head. He ducked under that, following with a one-handed handstand right kick, which was blocked. He quickly followed that with another left roundhouse aimed for the body again. Kakashi jumped back, avoiding the kick. Deciding to go on the offensive, he charged Naruto, coming at him with a downward right hook, which the blonde leaned out of the way. But in one fluid motion, he went right away into a left-footed sweep. Naruto jumped over the leg, but was caught off guard by the straight right that caught him the chest. Landing on the river, Naruto charged at him again. This time, he jumped, kicking at him like he was running on air. Kakashi put his hands up to block, just like Naruto hoped, and when he went for looked like his last right kick, he spun in the air, connecting his right foot to the side of his head, sending the masked Jonin across the field. As he steadied himself from the kick, he decided it was time to move on. What the blonde didn't notice was as his Anaisen was sent flying, he started doing hand signs. Naruto turned around when he heard a voice that was all too familiar. "Hey Runt, what the hell do you think you're doing over here? This my area." Naruto squinted his eyes and tilted his head. "Bachan, what the hell are you doing here?" "Just what I said, I'm here to drink." "Now where the hell is that old pervert of a teammate of mine?" After hearing her speak, something clicked in his head. If that was Bachan, she would be at a bar with pervy Sage. And she knows to look at the hot springs first. Oh, I get it, very fucking funny in Ai-san. He put his hands in the ram seal and said, "Shinobi Lesson Number 2, Jinjutsu." Cut. With that, he looked to see Kakashi smiling at him across the river. "Really? Fucking Bachan, and you gave her ass her worst nightmare." If you would have seen the look on your face, you would have known it was completely worth it. Anyways, Shinobi Lesson Number 3. Ninjutsu. With that, they both started flashing trough hand seals, with Kakashi finishing first. Right on, Lightning Dragon Missile Jutsu. Naruto finished his seals slightly after that. Futon, Wind Dragon Missile. Both dragons spiraled up into the air, then charged at their targets, letting off loud roars before they hit each other, locking into a battle of chakra. The Lightning Dragon could only fight for so long before the Wind Dragon pushed through. Kakashi thinking fast with the easiest defensive jutsu he could use at that moment. Doton, Earth Encampment Jutsu. He fell to one knee as a wall of earth popped up and made a dome around him, hoping that his last jutsu took enough out of Naruto's dragon to hold up. When the wind finally died down, Kakashi shot out of the encampment with a fire jutsu. Katon, Phoenix Fire Jutsu. Kagebushin no Jutsu was Naruto's answer. With that, 4 Kagebushins appeared, and they all called out for the same jutsu. Suiton, Crashing Rapids. Each blast was sent off at Kakashi, extinguishing the flames, and in the cover of the mist, the blonde let off another jutsu, coming 5 strong. Futon, Air Bullets. As the masses of air flew at Kakashi, blowing the mist out of the way, Naruto was treated with the sight of one of the bullets hitting their mark. He instantly turned around, hoping that he wouldn't end up like Sasuke. He heard a rumble under the ground, and he jumped back, thinking that he was safe. Hidden Leaf Village Secret Technique 1000 Years of Death was all the blonde heard as he felt 4 fingers in a slightly uncomfortable place as he was blasted off back to the field. "Pervert," was all he could yell back at his sensei. "That's what he gets for getting a hold of the new book early and not letting me know," Kakashi thought as he watched his Otuto fly through the air. Once he landed, he saw that his pink-haired teammate was trying to still dig the Uchiha out of the ground. Thinking about the book, he had an idea of how to get the bells and actually make it seem like teamwork. "So I see you're still in the place I last left you." HMPF was the only answer he got from the Uchiha. "Naruto, you baka, stop messing around and help get Sasuke-kun out of here," his pink-haired teammate chided at him. "I will, but only on one occasion. You see, I know how to get the bells, but that's only if you want to help." "No way will I, an Uchiha, going to follow you." "Yeah, there's no way a baka like you can have a way to beat a Jonin that neither of us could beat," Sakura said, while still trying to dig Sasuke out of the ground. "Well, do any of you two have an idea?" Seeing the questioning looks on their faces gave him the answer he needed. "Just like I thought. So really you only have 2 choices. 1, you listen to me and pass, Or you can dig yourself out, think of a plan, and execute it all in the 35 minutes you have left in this test. And of course, we all know what will happen if we don't pass. I can see it. No, the last Uchiha couldn't pass his Genin exam all because his sensei didn't kiss his ass and he refused help. And the top kunoichi of the class failed too and passed out from a simple jinjutsu. I, on the other hand, finished last, so I'm expected to fail, so I have no problem going back. Alright, Dobal, listen, but if I still fail, you're taking the entire blame. And when we pass, I'll take all the credit. So what's this brilliant plan that you have, Naruto? Sakura said, sarcastically, pissed that she was actually going to listen to a plan by the baka. Naruto quickly made a Kage Bushin and had it do a substitution with Sasuke, then dispelled it. Naruto quickly started to tell them about his plan, and when he was done, he was greeted by the lovely voice of Sakura Haruno. Naruto, you baka, that won't work, he's a jounin. Rubbing his ears to stop the ringing, he then looked at Sasuke and asked him a question. Has she been like this the entire time at the academy? Sasuke nodded his head and Naruto shook his. This might be the only time I say this, but I feel sorry for you. Now, Haruno, we have 20 minutes, so stick with the plan or we fail. Making Sakura look sheepish, realizing how close she is to failing. 5 minutes later, they found Kakashi and put the plan into motion. Sakura was up first. She walked out into the open to get his attention. Kakashi-sensei, I found this book that fell off. Naruto, do you know what it is? You know, Sakura, you don't have much time left. Are you sure that you want to waste your time with something like this? I know, but I was wondering what Ika Ika Hot Springs of Fun Limited Edition is. Hearing the name of the book, that he knew that he would have to wait another month to get a hold since Jiraiya wasn't due back for months. His fandom instantly kicked in. Sakura, give me that book now. Kakashi could barely contain himself, his usual bored look gone. Even through the mask, you could tell he was about giddy as a fangirl in the academy. Okay, sensei. No need to yell. Sakura tossed the book in the air, and as it was flying toward Kakashi, he heard two voices say something that made him go pale as a ghost. Katon, Grand Fireball Jutsu. Futon, Great Breakthrough. With both jutsus combining, a speeding fireball hit the book, making it burst into flames and burning to ash quickly. Seeing this made Kakashi drop to his knees with a tear starting to fall from his eye. No, he yelled. He then stood up, flames burning in his eyes. His students were going to pay for that. When he turned around, he saw all three of his students standing next to each other with a smirk on their face, which only furthered his anger. Just what the hell is so damn funny? They all looked at each other, then smiled as Naruto pulled two bells out of his pocket. Seeing the bells, Kakashi went wide-eyed, and then looked down to his side, realizing that the bells were gone. Looking back up, he saw Naruto toss one bell to Sasuke and the other to Sakura. But how? When did you take the bells? Kakashi asked, stunned that they got the bells without even noticing. Simple, while you were watching the fireball hit the book, I had one my clone sneak up behind you and take the bells while you were distracted. The blonde said, smiling from ear to ear. Well, I must say that was a good idea, and you actually got the whole idea of the test. I would have passed you even if you didn't get the bells with your plan. What? Two of the three said in unison. Yes, you could have passed without getting the bells, but you three would have failed. The idea of the test was for you to realize that you were facing a Jonin and should realize that you couldn't beat me by yourself. You see, teamwork was the idea of the test, since that is the strength of the village. Anyway, since you passed, you can go home. Just meet me at the Hokage Tower tomorrow morning at 7. So until then, you're dismissed with the exception of Naruto. Kakashi waited for the other two genin to leave. Once he was sure that they were gone, he looked at Naruto. Otudo, you have 5 seconds to give me a reason why I shouldn't kill you right here and right now. Simple, that was my copy of the book. Yours is at home. You know I don't care for the book, so Pervy Sage sent 2 of them here. Just look at it this way. Now you know that you are the only one in the entire world that has a copy of the book. Come on, Nai-san, I'm hurt that you think that I would do something like that to you. You're right, I'm sorry that I doubted you like that, so when can I come get my copy? Just come by my place around 9, and I'll give it to you. Alright, I'll see you later, Naruto. Same to you, Nai-san. As Naruto left, he had one place in his mind that he was going to first. Ichiraku Ramen. As he walked up to his favorite place to eat, Tucci saw his favorite customer. Hey Naruto, I take it from the smile on your face that you passed your test. Sure did. Old man, let me get 1 miso ramen and keep them coming. Naruto exclaimed, feeling the need to celebrate. 5 bowls later, Irika found him at the stand. How's it going, Naruto? Irika-sensei, things are going great. But I think I should be asking you that question. Are the injuries healing all right? They're healing pretty well. I'm just really sore right now. Getting away from that subject, do you mind if I join you? Of course I don't. So did you hear about my test today? Of course I did. You know, you guys surprised a lot of people when they found out that Kakashi actually passed a Genin team. Yeah, I heard that he's usually pretty tough when it comes to passing teams. Truth is, though, we almost failed, no thanks to those two. What do you mean, Naruto? Just what it sounds like. Kakashi-sensei did the decapitation jutsu on the team, and he stayed there the entire test till I had a clone do a substitution with him. And Sakura passed out after a simple genjutsu. Well, that's 2 out of 3. So how did you do? I held my own, even though I know he held back, but I still got him to use his Sharingan eye. Then the pervert hit me with 1,000 years of death. Well, it doesn't sound like you fared all too well yourself, superstar. Hey, weren't you listening? I made the copy ninja use his Sharingan, while he didn't even put that stupid book down when he took down those other 2. Okay, oh great one, just how did you manage to get the bells off of the famous ninja then? A very mischievous grin came across Naruto's face, and Irika knew that face all too well. That was the face when Naruto pulled a prank so good that he had to take credit for it. Hee hee. You see, Pervy Sage sent me an advanced copy of his new book. So I had the Banshee show up in front of him and say that it fell off me. You can imagine his face when she said the title of the book. Irika chuckled when he started to think on how many different ways that this could end. He then demanded the book, which she tossed to him. Then the team and I burn it right in his face, and he thought it was the only copy. While he busy watching in disbelief, I had a Kagebushin sneak up behind him and take the bells. He finished with his trademark fox grin. Upon hearing this, Irika almost fell out of his chair. He was laughing so hard. When he finally calmed down enough to somewhat talk, wiping the tears from his eyes, he finally spoke. Naruto, you have no idea how much everyone that knows Kakashi would pay to see that happen to him. Especially the women of this village. Some might be jealous that you got to do that to him first, though. Irika-sensei, there's one thing that you can't tell anybody. What would that be, Naruto? Very simple, the book that we burned was Gigi's book. I have Kakashi-sensei's at my apartment. Well, Naruto, that is something. Wait a minute, what do you mean? That's the Hokage's book? Don't tell me that he reads it too. You mean you never knew? He keeps his books in the second drawer on the right. I think he's Pervy Sage's second biggest fan. He's just smart enough to not put it out there in the open. Oh yeah, one last thing. What's that, Naruto? Checks on you. After that, he dispelled, leaving Irika shocked, wondering when the hell did he leave and when did he make a Kagebushin. Tucci was laughing while he was in the kitchen, looking at the shocked expression of Irika. He left while you were laughing and said that you had the bill. By the way, Naruto had 11 bowls. Who would have thought the boy could still pull a fast one on you, Irika? The ramen chef said, still trying to stop himself from laughing. To say that Irika was pissed would be an understatement, but the scarred Chunin had an idea. Yes, only Naruto would tell a secret like that and pass off the bill. But he failed to notice one thing, and that is what I do during the summer to watch out for my students. Irika finished and paid the bill, but left with mischievous grin on his face that would rival his former student. I guess it's true what they say about revenge. Don't worry, Naruto, by the time I'm done with you, you'll be paying my ramen bill for a year to make sure you get back on my good side. He thought as he went home to get some much-needed rest. As Naruto walked through the town, he noticed all the looks the villagers were giving him again. Bastards, why the hell can't they just leave me alone? I mean, come on, who else could keep this ridiculous fur ball inside of them and still stay sane? He thought as he continued to walk. It probably doesn't help the fact that you smell like a bag of shit, you insolent little fuck. The QB chirped in because of the fur ball comment. And just what the hell are you talking about, prisoner? Oh, I don't know. Maybe someone who was running around jumping through trees and fighting all day would have the common sense to bathe before they go see their girlfriend. I guess we can now add Filthy Demon or Stinky Demon to your ever-growing list of nicknames, you fuck. What the fuck, you cussing at me more? That shit's uncalled for. I don't know, maybe because you did it first. Damn, I knew you blondes were dense, but how can you really be this stupid? Hey, I'm not stupid or dense. At least I don't claim to be all-powerful while still being sealed inside a 12-year-old. Oh yeah, weren't you sealed by blonde? Just go take a shower, you retard, that's all I was trying to get at. Then why didn't you say that in the first place? No need to call me names. I did try to give you a hint, you're just too stupid to realize that, and you started calling me names first. Did not. Then what was that fucking furball comment? Oh yeah, sorry about that. So he went home to take a shower and get a change of clothes before he headed over to see Ino. When he finally arrived at the flower shop, he was surprised to see that it wasn't Ino at the counter, but it was her father, Inoichi. And when he looked up to see Naruto had walked into his store, an evil fatherly instinct kicked up. Yamanaka-san, is by any chance Ino in? Naruto asked, slightly disturbed by the look he was getting. Uzumaki, just the genin I wanted to see. Naruto gulped. Usually he was called by his first name, so the fact that he got his last name and rank thrown in his face couldn't be good. So what did you want to talk about then, Yamanaka-san? He knew better than to be relaxed. Now something about a guy that could scramble your mind like eggs for breakfast and dating his daughter made him realize when to act right. Yes, I wanted to talk to you about the date you had with my daughter last time. He gulped again as his eyes narrowed on him. Now, I don't have a problem with you telling my princess who your father was. I'm honored that you trust her that much with the Chunin exams not so far away, and that's even if you get nominated first time up. But just what the hell were you thinking letting my daughter meet the QB? The young blonde nearly pissed himself when he heard the sinister tone of voice he used at that last part. Big Bad Kit can stand up to anyone, but when his girlfriend's dad gets mad at him, he has to struggle to keep control of his bodily functions. This is Rich. I told you it was a bad idea to show her. I'm saving this memory for later. Shut up, you stupid fox, this isn't the time for this. If he wants to scramble your brains, I'm not going to put up a fight. You see, Yamanaka-san, I didn't think that she would believe me. Since I'm the first publicly known Jinchuriki of the village, I thought it would be easier just to show her, and I was there the whole time. Do you really have that low of faith in my father's skills as a seal master? I wouldn't have taken her if I didn't know it was safe. Man, I hope that bit about dad works to make him feel for me. Don't use your father to try and sugarcoat this shit, Uzumaki. Shit, Naruto thought. It's not that I eventually didn't expect you to let her meet the QB when I found out the two of you got along, but I would at least hope to keep a 12-year girl from meeting the most powerful demon in the world for a few years, not the day she graduates from the damn academy. Inoichi finished, sending a shiver down the young boy's spine. I see what you're talking about, Yamanaka-san. It was at that point when the back door opened to reveal Ino and her mother coming out of the house. Naruto quickly looked at Ino with the help-me face that she caught on to real quick. Daddy, were you trying to scare my boyfriend? Of course not, Princess. Me and Naruto were just having a friendly little talk like we always do. Seeing right through his lie, his wife spoke up in a tone of voice that would scare any man. Inoichi, honey, do you mind if we talk in the living room for a moment? She said in the sweetest voice she could muster. Of course, dear, Inoichi said, realizing that he was about to receive hell. Knowing that Naruto was safe from her dad, Ino decided to speak back up. Mommy, Daddy, Naruto-kun and I are going to go for a walk. We'll be back in a few hours. Bye. Have fun, Ino, her mother said as they left the shop, then turned to glare at her husband, which made him gulp like Naruto had. Inoheim, are you sure that's okay with your dad? Of course it is, Naruto-kun. Daddy may be able to scare other shinobi, but when he comes home, he knows whence he's fucked. Why do you think he bought such a comfortable couch? So that's what I got myself into. Is it too late to take back my offer? He said with a slight smile on his face. Ino quickly bonked him on the head again and answered his question. You already had the chance to back out, and you passed, so deal with it. Now get up and hold my hand. Yes, Heim, he replied, defeated, making a mental note to never piss her off that much again. Unknown to the two blondes, there was one set of eyes staring at them as they were walking off. I would never treat Naruto-kun like that. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, one of these days I'll save you from that tramp. Hinata thought as she hid behind a corner watching as the two walked off. After walking for about 30 minutes, both blondes came up to a lake and Naruto was starting to get confused. Ino, what are we doing here at the lake? Well, I figured since you took me to your favorite spot in the village, I'd take you to mine. Now take off your clothes. Nanny, I said take off your clothes, you don't want to get them wet, do you? She said as she began to strip, revealing that she had a purple bikini on underneath that made Naruto spring a nosebleed. When he finally regained himself, he stripped down to his boxers and had one thought. Thank Cammy, I didn't wear white boxers today. Ino walked closer to the rock edge of the lake, then looked at her fellow blonde. Now follow me, and take a deep breathe, it's a pretty good swim. Naruto looked at her then shrugged, thinking about how scared Inoichi looked earlier. He did as he was told. When he dived in after Ino, he saw her swim into a hole in the rock about 7 feet underwater and kept following. About 30 seconds later, they came up in what he thought was a cave at first till he saw that it wasn't covered. Inside the rock was a field of wild flowers that had a moat surrounding one of the biggest sakura trees he had ever seen. Wow, this place is amazing. How did you find this place? On accident, my family came here to go swimming a couple of summers ago, and trying to hide from everyone I found this place. You're the first person I've ever shown it to. Besides, I've been waiting for a while to come back since it's so hard to get to when it's cold. Is there anything we can use to dry off, or do we just lie out and wait? Don't worry, I came here once during the winter with a sealing scroll and left it here. I've got blankets, towels, pillows, fire pit, and wood. I was planning on spending the night here a couple of times under the stars. That does sound great. So the two blondes set up their campsite and started to tell how their test went. Ino laughed at the hell that Kakashi put Sakura and Sasuke through during their test. And Naruto laughed when he found out that Asuma's test was to take his cigarettes from him. He could barely contain himself when she told him that when they caught him, Ino took over his mind and lit the entire pack on fire. The two blondes spent the rest of the night talking and trading more stories. Once the stars came out, Naruto created 2 Kagebushin. One to go to Ino's house to ask her mom if it was okay if they spent the night. The other went to his apartment to wait on Kakashi to come get his book. When the Kagebushin that went to Ino's house dispelled itself and Naruto got the memory, he started to laugh some more. What's so funny, Naruto-kun? Ino asked, looking confused since she hadn't said anything funny. Your mom said it was okay, and as long as I promised to give her lots of grandbabies. You should have heard the reaction out of your dad. Ino sighed at the antics of her mother, then started to laugh too. Once she started to think about how her dad would react to hearing something like that. When they calmed down, they had a nice makeout session before they just went to sleep in each other's arms, excited that tomorrow they would actually start their first day as Genin. The next morning, the two blondes awoke at sunrise with a smile on their face. Last night, they had decided that this would be their place. Once they sealed everything back up, they had a morning swim as they left the cove, and then headed to Ino's for breakfast. Naruto was hesitant at first, but Ino assured him that her dad was gone already, and that even if he wasn't, he still didn't have the balls to try and piss off her mom right now. When they got to the house, they could smell breakfast being made already. Izumi looked at both teens with a look that Ino already knew and silenced her before she could even say anything. After breakfast, Naruto went to his place and took a shower along with a quick nap, wondering if his teammates had learned their lesson about their sensei yet. The other reason the blonde knew he could take a nap was because he knew Kakashi wasn't going to put that book down until it was too late. The blonde had gone to sleep at 7:30, and it was now 9:15 when he woke up. He was feeling pretty good and knew he had plenty of time to spare, so he took his time walking to the tower, reflecting on yesterday. Yes, life is good. I passed an Aisen's test, I got free ramen, and I spent the night under the stars with Ino. Nothing can go wrong right now, he thought to himself. But he had no idea that last night's ramen was going to come at a much bigger price. He got to the Hokage Tower with 5 minutes to spare and saw Sasuke arriving at that same time while Sakura was there looking pissed. Where the hell have you been, you baka? She yelled at Naruto as soon as she saw him. Why the fuck are you just yelling at me? The team just got here too. It's not my fault that you're too dumb to realize that the guy's 3 hours late all the time. Didn't you learn anything from yesterday's test? Geez. And they say we blondes are dense. He's right, Sakura. As much as I hate to admit it, the dobe has a point. Face it, we have the only sensei that's gonna let us sleep, and you might as well take advantage of that, Sasuke said as he looked at the pink-haired girl shaking his head. You see, even the team can catch on to the obvious. Guess we know who's gonna be the first to die, Naruto said, knowing that he got the last word in because Kakashi should be showing up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. With that, a poof of smoke appeared that Kakashi appeared out of. You're late again, sensei, the Banshee yelled, making everyone dig in their ear to stop the ringing. How many times is it going to take for this girl to catch on? The silver-haired Jonin thought before he gave his usual half-assed excuse. Sorry about that, but I got lost on the road of life. More like your face in a perverted book. A certain blonde mumbled so that only his sensei could hear. Well, since we're all here, let's go get you all your first mission as Leaf Shinobi. He said, but was thinking something completely different. Kami, I wish I could have put this off a lot longer. When they came into the mission assignment room, Naruto paled at whom he saw sitting at the desk next to the Hokage. Iruka-sensei, what are you doing here? Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is how I keep an eye out on the students to see how they are doing over the summer and get a little extra money. The scarred Chunin said, as if nothing happened yesterday. Oh, in that case, what do you got for me, Gigi? Escorting a princess, killing some bandits, hunting down rogue ninja. What is it? I'm sorry, Naruto, but nothing of that sorts right now. Iruka, can you hand me a D-rank mission, please? Saratobi said as he looked at the man who helped him every year. Why, certainly, Hokage-sama. I have the perfect mission for them, he said, handing over the folder. As Saratobi looked at the mission, he smiled as he thought to himself. This is the perfect mission for what Naruto did. Well, Naruto, this mission is a recovery mission. You will have to recover the Fire Daimyo's wife. He paused for dramatic effect, and to see the excited look on two of the three faces. His wife's lost cat, Tora. He smiled even bigger on the inside at the looks of disappointment. What do you mean, Gigi, a lost cat? We're ninja. Now how come we can't get a real mission? Naruto, do you actually think that we would send out Genin on a dangerous mission right off the bat? Never mind, don't even answer that. Sandaime finished as he looked at the blonde who was about to respond. Thank you, Hokage-sama, we accept, and we'll get right on it, Kakashi said, grabbing the folder and turning to leave. But Kakashi-sensei. The blonde started to complain, but his sensei turned around and shot him a glare that years' worth of training taught him not to argue with me. Defeated, he put his head down and left. 2 hours later. This is Sasuke, and I'm at point B. This is Sakura, and I'm at point C. This is Naruto, and I'm at point A. All right, we have a conformation on the target. Get ready to move, Kakashi said. The target has moved. Don't lose it, move now. How far are you from the target? I'm about 15 feet, I think we got it. Get ready to move on my count. 3, 2, and 1, go. Naruto yelled as he dove for the cat. When he grabbed Tora, he immediately started clawing at his face, getting him to let go. Sasuke went after him next, but when he got close enough, Tora went straight for his crotch, causing him to jump back. That's it, fuck the mission, that piece is shit is dead, yelled Sasuke, looking at Naruto with an evil glint in both their eyes. Get it? They both yelled as they started chasing the cat. Hot on Tora's trail, both males of Team 7 were chasing the cat over the rooftops of the village. Finally, they forced Tora back on the ground and cornered the cat in an alley. What do you say, Dobe Shuriken or Kunai? That's an easy one, team. Kunai, so we can gut the bastard and enjoy. Just as they had Tora cornered and were approaching with sinister grins on their faces, Sakura came from behind and popped them both on the head. What is wrong with two? The only reason he acted like that is because you scared him. Here, kitty, don't worry, I won't hurt you, I'm not like those two, come on, she said in a sweet voice as she went over to Tora and picked her up with no problem while petting him. See, all you had to do was be nice, and you wouldn't have had a problem. Boys. Kakashi-sensei mission save lost cat Tora complete. Very well, then let's take her back. Back in Hokage's office. Oh, my poor little Tora-chan, mommy was so worried about you naughty little fluffykins, Madame Shurjimi said as she was squeezing the life out of Tora, much to the delight of Sasuke and Naruto. Stupid cat, that's what it gets for going after the Uchiha family jewels. I hope she suffocates the damn thing, Sasuke thought as he watched with a smirk on his face. Ha ha ha, stupid cat, that kitty deserves to be squashed, Naruto said. No wonder he ran away, Sakura said. 2 months later, after countless D-rank missions along with catching Tora the cat, 9 more times Team 7 walked into the Hokage's office to get their new missions for the day. Team 7, let us see what he have for you today. There's babysitting the chief counselor 3-year-old, helping his wife to do the shopping, digging up potatoes, Sandaime said before he was interrupted. No, I want to go on a real mission, something challenging and exciting, not this lame-ass shit, come on, Gigi. Naruto complained as he had had enough of these D-rank missions. The dobe does have a point. He's such a pain in the ass, Sakura thought as she watched the blonde complain. Kakashi sighed. I knew this was coming, but I must admit I have been getting rather bored myself. How dare you? You're just a brand new Jinin with no experience. You start simple missions to develop your skills until you prove yourself. Irika yelled at Naruto. Are you serious? Babysitting is not a mission, it's just a stupid show. Naruto yelled back at Irika before he was driven to the floor by his sensei's fist. Will you please shut the hell up? Kakashi said while looking down at his otuto/student. Naruto, it seems that you do not understand the task you have been given. Listen, many different types of requests come into our village every day. These ranging from babysitting to assassinations, and they are ranked according to. Sandame started before he looked back up at Team 7 to see that they weren't paying attention. So I had this new barbecue pork ramen yesterday, and today I was thinking about having miso. Silence. Sandame yelled. Oh sorry, Kakashi said, scratching the back of his giving an eye smile. Come on Gigi, you lecture me worse than Pervy Sage does. At least he goes off every now and then to go do his research. I'm not the same little kid running around pulling pranks anymore. I'm a shinobi of the leaf, and I want a real shinobi mission. Pouted Naruto. Since he never got up, he just turned around and crossed his arms. Kakashi sighed. I'm going to hear about this later, he thought. Irika and Sandame chuckled at hearing that. So Naruto wants us to know that he's not a brat. He's a former brat, and he wants a mission, so be it. Sandame said, shocking his entire team. I'm going to give you a C-ranked mission. You'll be bodyguards on this one. The blonde turned around excited. Yes. Who is it? It has to be someone important, right? Don't be so impatient, Sandame said. Send in our visitor. He yelled to his secretary outside the office. As the door slowly opened, a man stumbled in holding a bottle of sake. What the hell? A bunch of little snot-nosed runts, he said before taking a chugging his sake, then leaning on the wall. And you, the one with the idiotic look on his face, you really expect me to believe that you're a ninja? Look at the girl. What kind of ninja has pink hair and with a forehead like that? Has got to be the biggest target I've ever seen. I guess the other looks like he might be decent. Naruto was laughing, thinking he was talking about Sasuke, until he opened his eyes and saw that he was looking at him. His eyes instantly narrowed, and in the blink of an eye he had said man pushed up on the wall with a kunai at his throat. Listen here, old man, just because I'm young doesn't mean that I can't kill with the best of them. I would suggest that you think before you insult a ninja, because next time they might not be so nice, he said in a low voice with his ki rolling off him. Just as fast as he was at his throat, he was right back with his team with that goofy smile on his face again. These ninja are fucking crazy, Tazuna thought. I almost pissed myself right there. You see, a ninja's greatest weapon is deception. As you just saw, that's Naruto's greatest weapon being trained by one of the Sannin, and the one that also does that the best, Sandame said to the client. Very well, I am Tazuna, Master Bridge Builder, and I must return to my country. I'm building a bridge there that will change our world, and I expect you to get me there safely even if it means your life, Tazuna said after taking chug sake. Okay, get your stuff and meet at the West Gate in 1 hour, Kakashi said as they all began to leave. As they all started to leave, the Sandame called out to the blonde. Naruto, I'm pretty sure that I won't be hearing about my advanced copies being burnt to ash anymore. That is unless you and your team like chasing Tora. Naruto's jaw hit the floor when he heard that. Irika-sensei, you said you wouldn't say anything. At first I wasn't, because I don't agree with people as young as you should even know what that book is. But sticking me with that ramen build changed my mind. Looks like we pulled a prank on the prankster king of Konoha, Irika said as they both smiled, looking at the defeated look on the blonde's face as he walked away. They tried to listen what he was mumbling. Stupid perverted old men and grudge-holding sensei. As Naruto was running home, he shot past Team 10 on their way back to the tower. Hey Hom, I can't talk, we got a C-rank mission, so I gotta get ready. I'll see you when I get back, okay? He said, giving her a quick kiss on the lips, then turning around to leave. Naruto-kun, yelled the platinum blonde before he left. Be careful, and if you're gone longer than 2 weeks, you're taking me out when you get back. Yes, Inoheim, he said as he turned around to go to his apartment. Troublesome. They've only been dating for a few months, and she's already got him whipped. Shut up, Shika, Ino yelled at her teammate while Asuma and Choji snickered behind them. When they met at the West Gate, Naruto showed up with 2 medium scrolls on the back of his vest and 1 small one on his left hip. Sakura and Sasuke looked at him like he was crazy for not having a backpack on. Naruto, you baka, we have no idea how long it's going to be until this bridge is finished and you show up with nothing. Why can't you take this serious? You're the one that begged for this mission. Sakura yelled. Dope. Naruto looked at his sensei that just shrugged his shoulders and looked back at him. While Sakura growing up with a seal master has its advantages, you know, and since they don't teach Fuinjutsu in the academy, I don't expect you to truly know the benefits of sealing scrolls. But I'll let you know that I have a month and a half worth of supplies in these 3 scrolls. So why you lug that big bag around the whole time? This is all I have to carry. So why don't you tell me who is the baka? He paused as he turned to look at Sasuke. Team. He's right, you know, Sakura, he is better prepared than all of us. You know, maybe you should listen to what Lord Hokage said about deception. Jiraiya-sama is one of the best I know at deception and also happens to be the sensei of Yondaime. So the fact that you think Naruto is weak and he has been trained by him his entire life might make him stronger than he lets on. Kakashi said. Now, let's move on. Hopefully we can get to our boat by the end of the day. Hours later of walking and mindless chatter and drinking done by Tazuna. Sakura wanted to ask Tazuna a question that had been bugging her. Mr. Tazuna, you're from the Nami no Kuni, right? Tazuna nodded. So why didn't you just get the ninja from your village to help you? That's an easy answer, Sakura. The Nami no Kuni is a small country and doesn't have ninja. That's not to say that all small countries don't have ninja villages, but since Wave is a small island protected by the sea, they have no need for ninja. Of all the countries on this continent, there are 5 major hidden villages. They are Konoha in the land of fire, Iwa in the land of earth, Suna in the land of wind, Kumo in the land of lighting, and Kiri in the land of water. These 5 nations are considered the strongest nations, as so the leader of those villages is given the title Kage, which means shadow. There's the Hokage for Konoha, Tsuchikage for Iwa, Kazekage for Suna, Mizukage for Kiri, and Reikage for Kumo. They are the 5 shadows that rule the shinobi world and considered the most powerful ninja. Kakashi finished. All 3 genin then started to think about the Hokage and what had happened when Naruto had did his Oiro Jutsu on him and began to have doubts about his strength. Is that old man really such a big deal? I'm not buying it. Inner Sakura thought. How can he be that powerful if he fell for the Dobe's stupid jutsu? Sasuke thought. Yeah, Gigi is pretty strong, but from what Pervy Sage says, he is nowhere near what he used to be. Hey, you all just doubted Hokage-sama, didn't you? Kakashi yelled at the 3 that stopped right in their tracks, shaking their heads. No, I was just thinking that he's not as great as he used to be from the stories Pervy Sage told me. But then again, he is old now. That is true, Naruto, but he is still more powerful than you think. But don't worry, there are no battles in a C-rank mission, so you can relax. Kakashi finished as they continued down the path. As they were walking later on through the day, they came across a puddle. Sakura, Sasuke, and Tazuna walked past it not paying attention, whereas Naruto looked up to Kakashi, who looked back at him and winked. A few steps after the puddle, 2 figures rose from out of the puddle covered in a cloak, then attacked Kakashi with a spike chain that wrapped around him, then tore him to shreds in front of everyone. Sakura and Tazuna were scared shitless, to say the least. As Sasuke looked shocked and prepared to defend himself, the 2 attackers then turned their eyes toward Tazuna as Naruto jumped right in front of him. They spread their chain out, their chain ad prepared to attack again. I guess you'll be the second one to die in your group, kid, along with the old man. As they shot forward again, Naruto grabbed hold of his swords and started to channel his wind chakra. When he pulled them out, he yelled. Slicing winds. 2 blades of wind shot off from the swords headed for the chains, and when they hit, the chains snapped into 3 pieces. The blonde smirked at the stunned faces of the 2 attackers. Demon Brothers, real names Gozu and Meizu Nuke from Kiri, ranked Chunin, specialize in relentless fighting and poisons. Do I have your info right? Said the blonde. So, brother, we gotten so famous, even genin from the Leaf know who we are. As one of them said, chuckling at the fact that he knew who they were. No, you're not famous. I just decided to look at a bingo book last night and start from the back and work my way to the front. Your names popped up pretty early, so you're not that good. Naruto said as he charged Gozu on the left. Not to be outdone, Sasuke charged Meizu. The brother on the left swung his right hand that had a clawed gauntlet on it at Naruto. The blonde spun and blocked the strike with his right sword, and swung with his left sword at his midsection. Seeing this caused Gozu to jump back smiling. So Brett, you think you got a little bit of skill? I don't think I know I got more than you, Naruto said as he charged again, this time jumping and spinning with both swords extended at his sides while going after Gozu. He was blocked, but when he came back around it was followed by 2 feet to the chest, sending him flying into a tree. Meanwhile, Sasuke attacked Meizu with a kunai that was blocked by one of his own. Sasuke went through some hand seals and started with his favorite jutsu, Katan, Grand Fireball Jutsu. He yelled as the giant ball of fire hit Meizu dead on. When the jutsu stopped, he looked to see Meizu turn into water. He then paused, trying to sense the chakra of his opponent, when he then heard a voice. Sasuke, duck. He did as he was told. As soon as he hit the ground, ninja wire snapped on Meizu standing behind using a shushin, sending him flying into the tree that his brother had just hit, wrapping both of them in it. All 4 of them turned to see who shot the wire. Naruto already knew who it was, but Sakura was ecstatic when she saw Kakashi walk from behind a tree. Kakashi-sensei. But how? I thought you were dead. Well, that's an easy one, Sakura. It's called a substitution, the silver-haired Jounin said as his student looked at him with a sheepish grin. Tazuna, on the other hand, was pissed that he had hid and left his safety up to some inexperienced kids. Wait a minute, so you could have taken them out by yourself, and instead you let the kids try out their strength? What the fuck did you do that for? Simple, Tazuna. There are 2 reasons that I did that. One was, as you said, to see where my students were when it came to actual combat practice is one thing, but I needed to see how they would react in real-life situations, and they did pretty good, I might say. The second reason I did that is I wanted to see who their target was. Kiri Ninja in Fire Country isn't normal, and I got my answer, so you and I need to have a talk. Tazuna gulped at hearing Kakashi say that he knew he was in trouble now. How the fuck did you know that we were gonna attack you? Gozu said, mad that his ambush was spotted so easily. Kakashi was about to answer when Naruto did it for him. Are you fucking kidding me? That shitty-ass excuse of an ambush? Tip: when it hasn't rained in days, and it's a clear sunny day outside, don't hide as a fucking puddle in the middle of the road. It's just a tad bit obvious, but that's just me. How could I have been so blind not to notice something like that, and the dope did? This just isn't fair. How is he so strong? Sasuke thought as he remembered seeing the puddle. Maybe Naruto is stronger than he actually lets on to be? He did realize the ambush and beat that other guy while Sasuke-kun needed help. Sakura thought before inner Sakura jumped in. What the hell is wrong with you? Sasuke-kun is the greatest and he's much better than Naruto Baka. You're right, I just had a lapse in judgment. Tazuna, you and I need to talk about this. Naruto, would you mind getting the answers that we need? Kakashi said, looking at Tazuna with a glare that sent chills down the man's spine. Kakashi-sensei, why would you let Naruto Baka interrogate them like he can get any answers? The pink-haired banshee yelled, now back to her normal self. You should let Sasuke-kun do it. I know he could make them talk. Well, Sakura, since I got my interrogation techniques from Minato-sensei, and he got his from Jiraiya-sama, who's raised Naruto his whole life, he already knows how I like to work and has the knowledge of proven tactics. So Naruto, if you please, make it fast. I still want to make our boat today. Kakashi said as he smiled at his Otudo. Gotcha, Naruto said as we walked over to Meizu, then turned to his teammates, and then spoke. Watch and learn, he said with a devious smile. He then freed his arm that didn't have a gauntlet and twisted it into a painful position and jerked. When he screamed in pain, he pulled out a kunai and jammed it into his now open palm, pinning it to the tree. Talk, bitch. Who sent you after the old man, and is there anyone else we need to worry about? Sakura stared in complete shock that Naruto could turn that violent so quickly, while the Uchiha just looked the other way at Kakashi and Tazuna, occasionally looking at the blonde to take mental notes, not wanting to admit that he, the last Uchiha, had to learn something from the dope. After about 10 minutes of Tazuna confessing everything to Kakashi about why he lied about the rank of the mission, he then turned to his students to find out what they learned from the interrogation. So what did you find out? Since that old drunk told you everything, I guess you already know about Gato? Kakashi nodded. Good. Well, besides some low-level bandits that should be easy to take care, he does have one big problem that you're going to have to take care of. His insurance policy to make sure that he dies is Momochi Zabuza, Naruto said, closing his eyes and shaking his head at that last part. Fuck me, Kakashi thought before he spoke. Well, this mission is now higher than we expected, so we're just going to have to turn around and head back home so that we can inform the Hokage and send a more experienced team here to deal with this. Sakura looked relieved that they were going to turn around knowing that they would have to fight more dangerous missing ninja until she heard Naruto jump and disagreeing with the decision. Hell no. We're almost to the boat now, and it's just one nuke Nin that we have to worry about. Look at this way, the Chunin exams are coming up, and this would be a good way to test our skills to see if we're ready. I know the team doesn't want to turn around, and if we stop them, then we can get the bounty and higher pay. Besides, we can just send word for another team assist us. Hearing about the Chunin exams and higher pay was all it took for Sasuke to want to continue the mission. I hate to say this, but I'm with the dope. Well, Sakura, what do you say? Your teammates want to continue the mission, but if you don't feel like you're up to this, we can still go home. Kakashi said, looking at the pink-haired girl. Sakura looked at both her teammates, trying to decide what she wanted to do. I don't know if they're more ninja that are stronger than them, and we're not strong enough to take them down. We should just go home, this too much for us, she thought, and was about to tell her sensei to go turn around before inner Sakura came back. What the hell is wrong with you? If we turn around now, Sasuke-kun will think that we're weak, and he will never forgive us for taking this away from him. I don't know about you, but I'm not willing to give up the chance to be Mrs. Sakura Uchiha, because we're scared. And the Baka did say we can send for help. She sighed after that quick statement, then looked at Sasuke. No, Kakashi-sensei, I think I'm ready for this. But I do think we should send for help. She looked at Sasuke again, and he gave her the closest thing she's ever gotten to a smile. I told you. Mrs. Sakura Uchiha, here I come. Kakashi looked at her, then sighed. Well, I'll just send for the ANBU to come pick these two up and get another team on the way. He then went through a few hand seals and said, summoning jutsu. With that, a cloud of smoke appeared, and once it disappeared, there stood a little brown pug with a lazy look on his face. Nice to see you again, Pakin. Same to you, Kakashi. So what you need me for? I need you to go back to the village and tell the Hokage to send an ANBU squad here to pick up the Demon Brothers, and that our mission has been upgraded and request backup. He then petted the dog and gave him a doggy treat before he took off. Well, now that that's taken care of, let's move out. A few hours later, they were on a boat headed into Wave. Moving silently through the thick fog, the bridge slowly came into view. The three genin were amazed at how big it was. It was by far the largest bridge they had ever heard of. Hey, old man, how come you need us anyway if all you're doing is building a bridge? The blonde asked, since he still didn't have all the information and was confused on that part. Gato, I'm sure you heard of his businesses before, right? Everyone nodded. Well, all that is just a cover-up for what he really does. He sells drugs and weapons using bandits and ninja to enforce his law over every port that he takes over. It was about 1 year ago that he set his sights on the land of Waves. In an island nation, he who controls the seas controls everything. When he came here, he took out all of his competition, easily wiping out our infrastructure. Anyone who was brave enough to stand in his way simply disappeared. The thing that he fears the most is the bridge, because when it is complete, it would take away his control of our land and can give us our lives back. So you knew that we were walking into this? So then why the hell didn't you tell us this when you got the mission? Now not only is there one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist here, but countless others too. Sakura said, trying her best not to yell. Tazuna, just Zabuza didn't have me that worried, but now you're talking about facing a large army. I think we might have to turn around when we drop you off. Kakashi said, lowly, thinking about what he might have to face. My country is very poor. Even our nobles have next to nothing. The common people building our bridge are doing it for hope. So if you choose to drop me off and turn around after this, they will assassinate before I make it home. But don't worry about me. Of course, my innocent little grandson will cry, Granddad, I miss my granddad, he said in a mock kid's voice. Seeing that the guilt trip was starting to work, he continued. Oh, and my daughter will denounce the ninja of the Hidden Leaf Village, blaming them for abandoning her father and forcing her to live her life in sorrow. It was safe to say that they all felt like shit for even thinking of leaving him now. Well, old man, I guess you're in luck that you have Uzumaki Naruto, the Leaf's one-man army. Well, I guess we have no choice but to continue on with the mission, Kakashi said. Thank you, I'm so very grateful, he said as he turned to the man rowing the boat with a smug smile and winked, thinking, I win. As they were walking towards Tazuna's house, Sasuke and Naruto kept quickening their pace, trying to take the lead. There's no way I'm going to let the dobe outshine me again, Sasuke thought as they continued to walk. After about 5 minutes, Naruto grew tired of the little game and let him continue on with the lead. Around an hour into the walk, Naruto made a slow move for his kunai and threw it in the bushes, effectively stopping everyone in their tracks. They all paused, waiting for something to happen. When nothing happened, Sakura steeled herself to look good in front of Sasuke and walked over to see what was in the bushes. When she saw a white rabbit, she picked it up and started yelling, "Naruto, you baka, look what you did to this rabbit. You scared it half to death. You little runt will stop trying to be so big and bad and stop scaring the shit out of me," Tazuna yelled after seeing the rabbit. "That's a snow rabbit. The only thing is that the fur is the wrong color for this time of year. That means this rabbit was raised indoors away from the light. That means it must be used for a substitution." Kakashi thought, now starting to look around, having a bad feeling about that. So they're already here. While he was being yelled at, Naruto thought that the fur color was weird too and started looking at his Inai-san. What the hell is he thinking about? Closing his eyes to concentrate, he felt a slight chakra that wasn't from his team. His eyes narrowed and he started to focus again, putting his hand at his kunai again. Seeing this, Sasuke looked at Kakashi to see him looking around too. He immediately started to look around, wondering what could startle both of them, and didn't want to be the one caught off guard. Sitting in a tree, Zabuza grabbed the hilt of his Zanbatsu. So that's why the Demon Brothers failed. Going up against the Leaf's copy ninja Kakashi is a little too much for those two. Hearing the air whistle, Kakashi yelled to everyone, "Get down." Naruto grabbing Tazuna and Sasuke Sakura, they all dove to the ground. The Zanbatsu traveled until it hit a tree, digging, and half a man appeared standing on the hilt. He was wearing camouflage leggings and arm covers, striped pants, with no shirt, and had his mouth wrapped up to cover his face with his kiri hideate to the side. "I was wondering how long it was going to take for you to show up, Zabuza. You should really train your help better. They let a Genin tell us that they were working for you. You three stand back and guard Tazuna. This is going to get fun." Yep, all ninja are crazy. A man with a sword that big, and he thinks this is fun. Tazuna thought again. "You're right, this could get fun, Sharingan Kakashi. Did I get that right?" Zabuza said, looking down at the team, but all his focus on the Jounin. "This can be avoided though, just hand over the old man, and I'll let you and your Genin live." Kakashi smirked as he pulled up his Heidi-8, revealing his Sharingan. "Well, I'm ready. Aren't I lucky I get to see the Sharingan in action? As for you, Jounin in the assassination unit in the mist have a standing order to destroy you on sight. In our bingo book, it called you the man who copied over 1,000 jutsu. What? Is Kakashi-sensei such a famous ninja?" Sakura thought, now finally hearing the exploits of the constantly tardy ninja. The Sharingan is a very rare Dojutsu that only occurs in certain members of the Uchiha clan. Can he be a... Sasuke thought. "Looks like your reputation precedes you, sensei," Naruto said, smirking. "Yes, now I finally get to see an Inai-san in action. Enough talking. I need to execute the old man now," Zabuza said before the Genin surrounded Tazuna. "So I'll have to get rid of you first, Kakashi? This will be something good to add underneath my name in the bingo books." He quickly pulled his Zanbatsu out of the tree and shot over to the water and started to build up his chakra. "Kirigakure no Jutsu," Zabuza said as a thick fog started to develop until the others could barely see. "Where is he? Who is he?" Sakura asked. Zabuza Momochi was the leader of the assassination corps in Kiri. He's the master of the silent death, which is just like it sounds. It comes in an instant with no warning of any kind. They say it happens so fast that you're dead before you even realize that it happened. My Sharingan can't completely stop it, so don't lower your guard," Kakashi said, making Sakura nervous as hell. "Well, if we fail, we only lose our lives," he said in his normal lazy tone of voice. "How could you say something like that, sensei?" Sakura scolded. "Simple. That's what happens when you take this job. You succeed, you live. You fail, you die. Didn't anyone tell you that, Sakura?" Naruto said in a sarcastic voice. As the mist got thicker and thicker, Kakashi disappeared from sight of the other four, and only made their nerves worse when they heard Zabuza's voice. 8 points. Spine, lungs, liver, jugular, clavicle, brain, kidneys, and heart. Now which one do I decide to go for? Zabuza said, shocking everyone but Kakashi. Kakashi put his hands in the ram seal, flaring his chakra, causing some of the mist to clear, and also letting a lot of his Ki roll of him in all directions. How much Ki he was giving off started to paralyze Sasuke, Sakura, and Tazuna. I feel like I can't breathe. One small breathe, one blink of the eye is all it takes to draw his attack. It's suffocating. It feels like I'm going to go crazy. The power of two Jounin waiting to attack, I've never felt something so chilling it feels like they're choking the life out of me. Sasuke thought. What's the matter, team? Is the little baby scared? This is when the fun starts to happen. Naruto said, chuckling a little bit. His voice was different. It was something that Sasuke and Sakura haven't heard him talk like before, but Tazuna had. That's how he talked to me when we first met. Yet his teammates are looking at him like he's crazy. That kid might just be as good as they say he is. Tazuna thought. Sasuke, calm down, I'll protect you with my life, all of you. I will not allow my comrades to die, trust me. Kakashi said that last part as he turned, and I smiled at them. I wouldn't be so sure. Zabuza said as he appeared behind them, Zanbatsu at the back of Tazuna's neck. It's over. Naruto flashed through hand seals, remembering that Kiri ninjas specialize in Suiton jutsus. Futon air bullet. He yelled as he sent a speeding pulse of air right through Zabuza, ripping through the ground. When the bullet hit Zabuza, he just turned into a puddle of water. Shit, Mizubushin, everyone stay alert. Good job anyways, Naruto. Kakashi said. Sensei behind you. Naruto yelled as Zabuza took a swing, cutting Kakashi in half. He was shocked though to Kakashi turn into water himself. Mizubushin, I can't believe in through the mist he was able to still copy me. Zabuza thought before he felt a kunai at his neck. Don't move. Now it's over. You're finished, Kakashi said. This caused his team to smile at how great their sensei did. Zabuza started to chuckle when he heard Kakashi say that. Finished. Your style is a mere imitation. I'll never be defeated by a copycat ninja like you. He chuckled again. I will applaud you though. To copy my Mizubushin while making that speech of yours was a nice trick. Very skillfully executed. You had your clone give that speech, while you hid in the mist waiting for me to make my move. Nice try, but I'm not that easy to fool, he said as he appeared behind Kakashi, making him go wide-eyed. He then took an upward side swipe at him, swinging all the way around, driving the Zanbatsu in the dirt. Kakashi ducked under the swipe, but was too slow to see Zabuza switch hands, using the hilt for leverage, kicking him in the face, sending him flying toward the water. Now, he said as he picked up his Zanbatsu, charging at Kakashi, but suddenly stopped after a few steps. Caltrops, huh? Trying to slow me down. Foolish. He then turned around and did a backflip over them. Sensei, Sakura yelled as Kakashi went head first into the water. I can't believe he got kicked in the air like that. His physical skills are great too, Sasuke said as he watched what happened. As Kakashi pulled himself as he noticed something different. This isn't normal water, it's too dense. Fool, Suiton, water prison jutsu, Zabuza said as a bubble of water surrounded him. Note to self, escaping into the water when fighting a Kiri ninja, not a good idea, Kakashi thought as he tried to figure a way out. This prison may be made out of water, but it's stronger than steel. It's hard to fight when you can't move. So much for the great Kakashi. I'll finish you off later. But first your Jinin are gonna have to go. Suiton, Mizubushin Jutsu. You think putting on a headband makes you a ninja? Once you've stared death in the face enough times, then maybe you can call yourself a ninja. When you've killed enough people to get yourself into my bingo book, then you might have earned the title, but to call fresh out the gate weaklings like yourself ninja is an insult, he said as the mist covered the field again and another Mizubushin rose out of the water. Before they could blink, Naruto caught a knee to the face and flew back. His Hide-8 flew off after the blow and he stepped on it. Naruto, Sakura yelled. Listen to me. Run away, his clone can't go that far from his body, so run. Kakashi yelled at his students. Sasuke charged Zabuza, throwing shuriken at him, which was blocked with ease. He then jumped, attempting to come down on him with two hands. Too easy, Zabuza said as he grabbed Sasuke by the throat and threw him back. Fuck that, Naruto said as he bounced back to his feet. Futon, great barrier, he said as he started to spin, dispelling the mist. He then took out his swords and charged, dragging them in the dirt. Naruto, what are you doing? We're only Jinin, you can't beat a Jounin, Sakura yelled at him. Zabuza took side swipe at him, trying to cut him in half, but was blocked by both swords. The sheer force swung him all the way to Zabuza's back since he used chakra in his feet to stay grounded. He then used them both to take a swipe at his lower back. Zabuza jumped behind him, kicking him in the back of the head, sending him right back to his team. "What did you that for?" Even Sasuke-kun couldn't hit him. Sakura scolded him. Naruto started to chuckle as he jammed his swords into the ground floor leverage. Had to get this back first. As he held up his Heidi 8, tying it back on his head. He then took out the scroll attached to his hip, unsealed it, applied some chakra, and out popped a demon wind shuriken. He shoved that on the side of his pants, put the scroll back, and picked up his swords. "See, like I said, when the fun starts," Naruto said as he wiped the blood from his mouth. "Hey team, I got a plan." "So you're finally starting to think about teamwork, Hadobe?" "No, I already thought about it. I just wanted to see how my Kenjutsu skills were compared to him. I thought I could at least get 5 swings in." After telling him the plan, he looked back at the Mizu Bushin and smirked. "Ready? Let's take this water bitch down." "What are you doing? I told your asses to run. This fight ended when I got caught. Remember the mission, protect Tazuna." Kakashi yelled at his students again. "Why, so you could end up like Obito?" "Not gonna happen, sensei." Kakashi put his head down after hearing about his dead teammate. "Those that follow the rules are trash, but those that would abandon a comrade are worse than trash. Still playing your little game pretending to be ninja. When I was your age, I had already killed multiple times." "The demon of the mist," Kakashi said in a soft voice. "Ha. So I was in your bingo book too." Long ago in Kiri, before a student could become a ninja, there was one final test. "Do you know about the graduation exam?" "What graduation exam?" Zabuza chuckled at the question. "What's the big deal? We had graduation exams too," Sakura said. Zabuza continued to laugh. "Did you have to murder the other students to pass?" Saying that, eared gasp from the other 4. "Imagine young ninja like you eating and training together, sharing the same dreams. And then comes the final exam, only the rules changed. You couldn't stop until you destroyed your opponent. He was your friend. Now it's either him or you." Holding her hand to her mouth, shaking, Sakura said, "That's so cruel." 10 years ago, Kiri graduation exam changed. 1 year before he would graduate, one child filled the school with terror. Kakashi said, "What do you mean terror? What kind of change, sensei?" Without pause or change, a young boy who wasn't even a ninja approached a class and killed over 100 other students. Zabuza lifted his head back with his eyes closed and inhaled slowly. It felt so good. He yelled before driving a knee into Sasuke's chest, then an elbow in his gut. He then stepped on him and grinded his foot in his chest. "You're nothing. Stop right there." "Kagebushin no Jutsu," Naruto yelled as 20 Kagebushins appeared. "Oh, Kagebushins, and you seem to make a decent number of them too," Zabuza said as he grabbed the hilt of his Zanbatsu. All the Kagebushins then jumped on, holding kunai Zabuza, who then threw all of them off of him. "His skill is too much, they're just not strong enough," Tazuna said, watching in horror. "My ass, I'm not done yet. Team catch," Naruto yelled as he threw the demon wind shuriken at him. Sasuke jumped to catch the shuriken, then opened it up. "Demon wind shuriken, windmill of shadows," Sasuke said. Sakura nearly had an orgasm watching her Sasuke-kun. He then jumped and flipped, throwing it at the Mizu Bushin. Or so he thought, as it went right past the Mizu Bushin and headed for the real Zabuza. He caught the shuriken with ease, but he didn't see the shadow shuriken under it that came back at him right on target. He then jumped over the second one, shocking Sakura and Tazuna. "That stupid trick won't work against me," Zabuza said. The shuriken then dispelled, showing it was Naruto in a henge, still flying backwards. He flashed through hand seals, firing off a jutsu. Right on, lighting dragon missile. The dragon roared as it came right at him, ramming him in the chest, sending him flying through the trees, releasing Kakashi. "Told you I'd make you my bitch." As soon as Zabuza had struggled to stand back up, Kakashi hit him with 4 kunai as he jumped up on a tree branch above him. "You're finished, Zabuza." When Kakashi turned to look back at him, he saw 2 Senbon headed right for Zabuza that struck him right in the neck, further shocking everyone. When Kakashi looked up to masked ninja with the Kiri symbol on it. "I take from your mask that you're a hunter nin from Kiri." "Yes, I am, and I would like to thank you and your team. I've been tracking Zabuza for a long time, waiting for my chance to finally kill him," the masked ninja said. From his size and voice, I'd say he's the same age as my team, but he's an elite assassin. Well, I'm glad that we could get the hard part out of the way for you, Kakashi said. I'm sorry for your troubles, but do not worry, I will handle the remains, and once again I thank you. With said, the masked ninja picked up his body and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Alright everyone, now that that's over with, let's move out. Kakashi covered his Sharingan, took 2 steps, then fell over. Kakashi-sensei, what's wrong? Sakura said as they all ran to go see what was wrong with him. I think he's just suffering from chakra exhaustion. We just need to get him somewhere he can rest. Tazuna, how much further till we get to your house? I'd say we're about 3 miles away. That's not too bad, I'll carry him from here. With that said, Naruto hoisted his sensei on his back and walked the rest of the way. When they arrived at Tazuna's house, they were greeted by daughter Tsunami. She was happy to see her father, and when she saw a ninja being carried, she immediately showed them to one of the guest rooms. When they had Kakashi settled in, she made everyone dinner, and they turned in for the night. Back in Hokage Tower, Teams 8 and 10 were standing in front of their leader after finishing up their D ranks for the day. Well, you 6 seem to be progressing quite nicely, and good job on the last mission, Sandame said. But we're still behind Naruto-kun's team. Ino mumbled under her breath, but was still picked up by the keen hearing of the Inuzuka. Don't get my team confused with yours, Blondie, because there's no way that a team with that dobe is better than us. Really, dog breath? Then why is Team 7 on a C rank mission right now, while you just finished another D rank chore? She replied with a smirk on her face, enjoying the look on the Inuzuka's face as it contorted in disbelief. The idea that Team 7 was doing better than him left Kiba with only one retort. Bullshit. Troublesome, but she's right, Kiba. Naruto told us right before he left. Shikamaru said, trying to get this yelling match over so he could go cloud watching. I still don't believe it. Well, Kiba, looks like you won't have to wait that long, cause Pakin is outside the window, Hokage-sama. Asuma said, drawing everyone's attention to the little pug outside the window. After letting the dog and the Hokage ask him to report. I have 2 requests of you, Hokage-sama. The first is that you send an Umbu squad to pick up the demon brothers about 40 kilometers out. The second is due to unforeseen complications, backup has been requested. We'll go, Hokage-sama. The dual voices of Hinata and Ino chimed in immediately, causing both girls to glare at each other. That little bitch is trying to steal my man while I'm not even there. I guess the Hyuga aren't as noble as they like people to think. Ino fumed inside her, said. If I could get this mission, that would give me plenty of time to show Naruto-kun that I am a much better choice than Hat Tramp. Hinata thought, looking at the Hokage with pleading eyes. While the Sandame was thinking about which team to send, there was a poof of white smoke on his desk that drew everyone's attention. Gamakichi, what are you doing here? Oh, Kimi, please tell me Naruto-kun's okay. The Yamanaka said, seeing her boyfriend's favorite summon at the same time as his sensei's. Oh, hey, Ino. Don't worry about the boss, he's fine. I'm just here to update the old man on the situation. The Hokage gave the small toad summon a look that said, continue. It's confirmed that they will be facing Momochi Zabuza. They already had an encounter with him. Kakashi is suffering from severe chakra exhaustion, but should be good to go by the end of the week. He also has an accomplice that helped him get away, and Zabuza should be in the same boat as Kakabaka. The Sandame leaned in his chair and took a deep inhale of his tobacco before looking at both summonses. I have 2 teams willing to go, so since you have more current information, which team do you think will help them out the most? The Toad and Pug discussed with each other quietly on what they thought would be best. After about 5 minutes, they had made their decision. Old man, we suggest that Asuma's team goes. Even though the Baiwakugan would be helpful in the way that Zabuza fights the Sharingan can see through it already, and if the Uchilla unlocks his, then that's even better. Not to mention that his sheer wind manipulation would tip the scales in our favor, and he could help the boss out with his wind chakra training. Kichi said. The professor smiled at the small toad. Very good reasoning, Kichi. Your father will be proud of you, and after hearing your reasons, I will agree with you. Team 10, go and pack your supplies for a C rank backup mission. You'll be leaving in an hour. Remember, the safety of your comrades is in your hands. Both teams are dismissed. As both teams left, Hiruzen didn't fail to notice the glare that was sent to the Yamanaka heiress, who left with a smirk on her face. I can't wait to tell Jiraiya that his godson has the Hyuga heiress trying to steal him away from his current girlfriend. I guess this will be good for the boy for when I tell the village about his lineage. The boy's not ready for those kinds of fangirls. An evil smile crept onto the old man's face at the idea of Naruto running away from all those women. Then he felt sorry for the ones that will have to deal with Hurricane Yamanaka. She would definitely have Kushina's approval. Outside of the office. Bullshit again. And who the hell does that frog think he is to suggest that we stay home? A livid Kiba ranted about having to wait longer for a real mission. Kichi is a toad flea bag. Along with being Naruto-kun's favorite summon, he's also the son of Gamabunta, the boss summon of the toads, which if I remember right was also the same summoning contract as Jiraiya-sama and Yandere-sama. Now if you would excuse me, I have to go make sure that Naruto-kun is okay. The platinum blonde bragged, watching the shocked look on Kiba's face and the rage building in Hinata as she turned and headed for her house to get her supplies. Asuma, is Naruto really that strong? Kurenai asked before he left. Kurenai, I've known Naruto for half his life, and one thing I learned about him is that he's like Jiraiya-sama in the way that he has mastered the art of making others underestimate him. When in all honesty, I think Naruto was at Genin level when he was 10. My bet is that the kid is more like a high Chunin right now. Then again, the only people who would know that are my dad, Kakashi, and Jiraiya-sama. With that said, he disappeared in a gust of wind and leaves. Well, Kiba, if it is true that Naruto is that strong, then it would be wise to use this time to train. Shino spoke up as he turned to leave along with his other teammates. Now he wants to speak up to defend me, the young Inuzuka said before he also went home. Back in wave. I think I overdid it with my Sharingan, Kakashi said as he woke up. Waking up, huh? Tsunami asked as she came to check in on Kakashi. Yeah, but I think it'll be another week before I can move normally again. He sighed as he strained to sit up. You would heal a lot faster if you just lay down instead, trying to move, she said in a tone that only a mother would have. Right, he said as he lay back down. Shortly after that, his team came in to check on him. They were happy to see their sensei up finally. Listen, sensei, I know your Sharingan is powerful, but if it puts that much strain on your body, maybe it isn't worth it, Sakura said as she knelt down next to him. She got pissed off when she heard a snicker coming from Naruto's direction. And just what are you making sounds for over there, Naruto? Why would you use something like that if it leaves you like this? Let me ask you one question, Sakura. Would you rather be dead or in bed for a week? It didn't take long for the answer to appear on her face. Thought so. Sometimes you have to do something that you rather not to, but it's better than what can happen. Sakura looked down, realizing why he did it, then asked another question. Sensei, what about that guy in the mask? He is an elite hunter, part of the AMBU Black Ops. Their job is to destroy all traces of the body of Rouge Ninja. Inside of a ninja's body are secrets that if captured, such as ninjutsu and jinjutsu, that if captured by an enemy village can be found out and used against themselves. Elsewhere in the forest, the masked ninja had Zabuza laid down and unrolled a medical kit. She was getting ready to drain blood out of his system when his hand shot up and caught her hand. That's enough, I'll do it myself, Zabuza said as he moved his bandages down as he prepared to work on himself. So I see that you're back from the dead finally, the masked ninja said. Haku, you're brutal, you know that, he said while pulling the Senbon out of his neck. You're the one who's brutal, Zabuza-sama. If you keep pulling them out like that, you really are gonna die, the masked ninja, now known as Haku, said, as she watched Zabuza violently yank the Senbon needles out of his neck. So how long do you plan to wear that fake mask? Take that shit off. Well, it did serve its purpose in fooling those other shinobi. If I wouldn't have shown up wearing it, you would be dead now. You know I don't mind getting put into an induced coma, but not when you hit me in the pressure points in the neck. You're as cruel as ever, and I think you like that too. Well, I wouldn't want to mark up that flawless body of yours, then you would just complain even more. Besides, the neck is more efficient shot. There's no layer of muscle to get in the way. And don't bother moving, you'll be numb for a week. Back at Tazuna's house. I want you all to think about something. From what you know about Tracker Ninja, what doesn't make sense about what happened to Zabuza? Kakashi asked. I don't know, sensei. Everything seems to make sense to me, Sakura said. I'm with her, he came in then he. Oh shit. Zabuza's still alive, isn't he? Naruto said, causing some to go wide-eyed at that revelation. What do you mean, Naruto? We saw him get killed. Sakura said, hoping that he was playing a cruel joke. I mean that if he was a real Hunter Nin, he would have destroyed the body right there and not take off. He was there as his backup plan. If we would have ran like Sensei told us to at first, he would have took us down and finished the job, leaving Sensei trapped with Zabuza. Since we stayed, he made sure that he didn't die instead. Naruto said. But Kakashi-sensei, you checked him yourself and said that his heart stopped. Sakura said, holding her hands up to her face, now shaking. I thought it did stop, but that was just to simulate death so we would leave him alone. Moreover, the Hunter Nin just slowed it down. Looks like we're going to have some more training. Hold on, Sensei, you could barely beat him. What makes you think some quick training session is going to make a difference? The pink-haired girl was yelling now. Sakura, the only reason that we were able to beat Zabuza is because we worked together as a team, so even if you get a little bit stronger, it gives the advantage just in numbers. Oh, and Naruto, I won't tell Jiraiya-sama this time. Thanks, things are going to go a whole lot better next time. Naruto said with his trademark fox grin. No, they're not. Things are never going to get better. A little kid who came from behind them said. Who are you? Naruto yelled, pointing at the kid. Inari, how are you doing? Tazuna said, spreading his arms wide. Welcome back, Grandpa. Inari, that was very rude. If it wasn't for these ninja, then your grandfather would not be here right now. Tsunami yelled at the boy. Mom, don't you see these people are gonna die? Gato and his men are come and wipe them out. Inari said to his mother, sounding like he was on the verge of tears. Naruto immediately fell on the ground, holding his sides, laughing at the boy's statement. Everyone except for Kakashi was looking at him like he had just grown a second head. Just what's so funny, Naruto, you didn't do that good against Zabuza yourself, baka. Sakura yelled at the blonde. First off, he said a midget was going to kill me. If you've ever trained with Pervy Sage or botch on a midget, and his henchmen won't worry you. Second, I didn't see you pull off any A-rank jutsus back there. Third, I know Kakashi-sensei hasn't had a good fight in a long time and was actually happy to do some real ninja work for a change. Everyone turned to look at Kakashi, who just shrugged, and I smiled at them. There's nobody that strong. You're just full of stupid ideas. If you want to stay alive, you should just go back to where you came from. Inari said, walking out of the room. Before Inari could make it out of the room, there was a puff of smoke that appeared in the room, causing him to turn around to spot a small yellow toad. Tatsu, what are you doing here, and where the hell is Kichi at? Naruto politely asked the small toad. The Hokage gave him some toffee. Oh, well, did he at least give you the info? The toad shook his head in the affirmative, then stuck his tongue out, in which the blonde tossed him a piece of caramel. Yinbiyu has picked up the other two, and Team 10 is on the way for the backup. Oh yeah, the dog is leading them here. He finished and started to jump for joy when he saw the big bag of candy come out of Naruto's pouch. Good job, Tatsu. Tell your brother this was for him, but since he didn't complete the mission, you can keep it. The young toad jumped up and grabbed the bag with his tongue and was gone just as fast as he came. Yes, I haven't trained with Asuma-sensei in years. I wonder if he's got any cool futon jutsus for me. The blonde was nearly bouncing off the walls, and the smile on his face looked like it was about to break through. When did you ever train with Team 10 Sensei, baka? You weren't even in the village growing up. The pinkette said, as this had to be made up just so he could try and outdo Sasuke in front of people. Well, forehead, right before my 8th birthday is when I found out that I was a wind type, and Asuma-sensei is the only well-known and I think only wind type in Hai no Kuni, so we went to go see him at the daimyo's castle. Why would you go see Konoha's only wind user at the daimyo's castle, dope? Sasuke came into the conversation, knowing Team 10 Sensei was a nobody. Well, that's because I was part of the daimyo's personal guard as one of the 12 ninja guardians. Being the Hokage's son sometimes doesn't look bad on your resume, Asuma said as he walked into the room with Tazuna and his team behind him. Before Naruto could greet any of his friends, he was knocked to the ground by a purple and blonde blur. Naruto-kun, thank Kami, you're alright. I was so worried about you when Kichi showed up. Ino said in between kisses. That is until Sakura cleared her throat. Geez, pig, I didn't know you were that desperate that you would go to that baka. I'm sorry, forehead, if I actually like having my affections returned back to me instead of a cold fish all the time. All that means is that you get to see him one last time before he dies, Inari said as he was about to leave the room. Listen here, you little shit, if I hear you say that Naruto-kun is gonna die, I swear you'll be eating out of a straw for the next month. Got it? Ino remarked as the boy hurried out of the room. As much fun as this is, can you all leave and give me and Kakashi some time to talk? Or when we get home, I'll make sure you find out what the flames of youth is all about. Asuma said, which made Naruto and Choji go wide-eye in horror. Flashback. Naruto and Choji were leaving Ichiraku's after an all-you-can-eat session. Both boys saw a Jounin and Jinin carrying boulders down the middle of the street. Both boys just stared until the two shinobi were close enough to hear them. Yashgai-sensei, if I cannot carry this boulder around the village 20 times, then I will take on all Tora missions for the next 2 weeks. The green spandex-wearing Jinin yelled, making every shinobi in hearing distance go pale thinking about the demon cat. Yash Lee, and if I cannot push you to complete this task, then I will walk to Suna and back on my hands. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Both shinobi were crying and hugging once they started yelling each other's name. A jinjutsu appeared of a beach with crashing waves and a heart over their heads. Both boys put their hands into the ram seal, gathered their chakra, and in unison said Kai, but nothing happened. What the hell's going on, Choji? It won't break. Naruto yelled as he kept trying. Make it stop, Naruto. Make it stop, please. I'm trying, damn it, but it won't stop. Fuck it, run, Choji, this is too much for me. Both boys just turned and ran as fast as they could. End flashback. Okay, sensei, no need to be so cruel, we're leaving. Choji said, pushing everyone out of the room. Naruto glared at Asuma as he backed out of the room. Threats like that won't be taken lightly, sensei. You do realize you're screwed, right? Kakashi said with his face already in his favorite book. I'm gonna need a smoke after this. Zabuza's hideout. Haku was watching over Zabuza when the door and in came a short man with an afro mullet wearing a suit and sunglasses. Some Jounin, the unbeatable ninja, just got beat. Limping back home like some pathetic has been. Demon of the Mist, my ass, more like Coward of the Mist. Gato said, standing behind his two bodyguards. Haku stood up, making the guards reach for their swords ready for an attack. Hold on a minute. Let's hear what you have to say about this fuck up, and don't play with me, I know you can talk. He then reached for Zabuza's bandages, only for his wrist to get caught in Haku's death grip. Keep your filthy hands off of him, she said as the grip tightened. Hey, let go. You're gonna break it, Gato said as he struggled to get free. His two guards started to draw their swords, but were in shock that in a blink of an eye Haku had control of their arms, pointing the swords at each other. That's impossible, they both thought. Don't push me, I'm in a really foul mood right now, Haku said. One chance, that's all you got. If you fail me this time, you'll defiantly pay the price, Gato said before he turned to leave. Haku, you know that wasn't necessary, Zabuza said as he still had his grip on a kunai underneath the blanket. I know that, Zabuza-sama, but I didn't want to take the chance. It's too early for us to be making a lot of noise like that. If you were to kill that little fuck now, it would bring the mist after us, and they would be to close on our tails at that point and have to start all over. The forest by Tezuna's house. Asuma had all 6 Jounin out in the forest, getting them ready for some training. All right, kids, today we're going to have a split chakra control training session. Team 7 Kakashi wants you to learn the tree climbing exercise. Since my team just finished that one, we'll be over at the beach. Excuse me, Asuma-sensei, but how is climbing a tree going to help us out with our chakra control? Sakura said, not seeing the point in this exercise. That's an easy one, Sakura. This will help because you won't be using your hands. Asuma then looked at Ino. Ino, would you mind showing them what this is supposed to look like? No problem, sensei, she said as she walked over to a tree and without even stopping continued to walk up the tree until she was hanging upside down on one of the higher branches. Great job, Ino-chan. Thank you, Naruto-kun. All right, Sasuke and Sakura, this is what you two will be working on, Asuma said as he was getting ready to tell what everyone else would be doing. How come Naruto isn't going to be doing this with us? Sakura started to complain. Isn't it obvious, Sakura? He already knows how to do this, so why bother wasting his time? Sasuke said with an annoyed look on his face. One, because here was another thing that the blonde could do, and because Sakura's continuous denial of said blonde. As I was saying, my team, you'll be doing water walking today down at the beach, and Naruto, you'll be with me going over some wind manipulation. Kakashi said he had a chakra control exercise that Jiraiya-sama wants you to do. He said you need to complete it if you want that jutsu. He finished as he gauged the blonde's excitement over the news. Really, Sensei, he said that? Alright then, let's get a move on then. He said, looking like he was about ready to explode. Hold on there, Gaki. Leave a Kagebushin with them so he can give them tips. We don't need any tips from him, so he can do whatever he wants to. Sakura so politely replied back. Fine by me if you don't want the help, but I still want to see if where you two are at before I leave, so that's what you got. Asuma shook his head at the pink-haired girl's bold claim. As said, both charged up their feet and ran straight for a tree. Naruto watched both his teammates climb. Sasuke got about halfway up, whereas Sakura made it all the way up. Well, that explains the control issue, Asuma said in a low tone. She should do push-ups on the tree to help her build her reserves, Sensei, Naruto said in an equally low tone. What would you look at that? Seems there's something Sakura's better than Sasuke in. Shikamaru chuckled to himself, and even more when he saw the glare focused on him. That doesn't mean that she's better, Shika. It just means that she's lazy. Remember that kunoichi naturally have lower reserves than men, so they have to work harder to build up their reserves. And since Sakura has always had near-perfect chakra control, means that she doesn't do anything to build them up. Let's face it, that's the reason Kakashi and oops. Everyone froze when they heard Naruto refer to Kakashi in such familiar term. Well, kid, I'm surprised you made it this long without slipping up, the chain-smoking Jounin said as he lit another cig. Just what the hell is that supposed to mean? Sasuke interjected, having a feeling he was about to hear some more about his enigma of a teammate. I'll tell you later, the young blonde replied and took off into the forest. I'll go talk to him, his girlfriend said, walking in the direction he left. Back in Konoha, Hinata was in the Hyuga training grounds, beating up a training post, still furious that Team 10 was sent as the backup. What is wrong with that senile old man? Can't he see that he is ruining Naruto-kun's life by letting that blonde slut go spend so much time with him? Her mental rant was cut short when she heard the voice of the Hyuga she least wanted to right now. Hinata-sama, Hyuga-sama, request your presence when you are finished training. Although we both know that. Niji and I hope you do know that I love you. And because of things that have happened, I don't say much to you. But right now I'm not in the mood for your fate bullshit. So I would appreciate it if you kindly shut the fuck up. She made her point very clear by nearly destroying the post with a chakra-infused palm heel. I wonder what could have ever made her that angry. Niji thought to himself. Beach and wave. Ino sat on the beach watching Naruto go through katas while also manipulating water. He really is that far ahead of all of us. While we're still trying to get these basic exercises down, he already started working on elemental manipulation, and not just one either. That probably means there will be a price on my head to use as bait for him. And that bitch Hinata thinks she can handle all this. Her thoughts were interrupted when a ball of water splashed on her face. You are so dead, Namikaze, just wait till I get my hands on you. Calling Naruto by his father's last name was something she had started doing when they were alone. Only this time it didn't bring the normal smile that it normally did. Instead, it downed his mood. Are you going to tell them the truth since your little slip-up? Like I actually have a choice. I knew this day was coming because I was going to have to tell them before the Chunin exams. I just didn't want to tell them like this, he said, as he really didn't want to deal with the shit storm that was going to come his way. Well, look at it this way, since we're on this island, there's no one for Sakura to go complain to, since the only other people that will find out would be Shika and Choji, and you know you can trust them. I guess you're right. Baka, what did I tell you? I'm a woman, I'm always right. So says the former president of the Sasuke fan club. Naruto said with a smirk on his face, as he always liked bringing up her fangirl days when though her head was getting too big. Okay, I'm almost always right. Well, now that I got that off my chest, there's only one more problem. And that would be what? Simple. The Yamanaka heiress / girlfriend of Yandame's son, can't be a pushover. So stand up, woman, so you can learn this," he said with a smile on his face. Later, in the forest, Naruto returned to the area that Sasuke and Sakura were still training about 2 hours later. He stayed hidden in the trees for a little while just to see how they looked. Sakura's face was covered in dirt from all the falling she had done, and to say that she was pissed for having to do this exercise would be like saying Hinata was okay with Ino being Naruto's girlfriend. Sasuke, on the other hand, was about 3/4 of the way up the tree with frustration still on his face. "Hey, I'm just gonna put it out there for you guys, but if you want some help, I'll give it to you," Naruto said, surprising his teammates since they didn't realize that he was there. "Baka, this is all your fault. I should be doing something else other than doing push-ups all day," Sakura yelled, flames in her eyes as she stared at the blonde. "Okay, I can take that, but I said that because I care. Sakura, once you start using real jutsus in the heat of battle, you're going to realize that it's a lot harder to use chakra, cause your reserves go down a lot faster. So doing push-ups on the tree lets you get an idea of what it's like to fight if you ever get caught in a ninjutsu battle, and it's building up your reserves and strength too. Besides, no one told you to do push-ups facing the ground. If you just face up on the tree, when you fall you land on your feet and not on your face." Sakura's face faulted when she heard the last thing he said. "I can't believe I didn't think about that this whole time. There was a way to make this easy, and I was so mad that he got me to do this that I didn't even think about it." Stop rubbing it in that he knew something that was right again. That's too many times in 2 days that he's been right. Sakura and inner Sakura thought. "Thanks for the advice, Naruto," she said as she went back to her task. "Well, that's one down. Let's see if I can get the other one. How about you, Sasuke? Do you want any help?" the blonde said. "I don't need any help from you, dope." "I didn't say that you did need any help. All I said is, would you like some help? Because she's already going to go to water walking tomorrow, and I just thought you would like some pointers so you can get stronger." When he looked at Sasuke, all he did was snort and turn his head away. "But since you're above someone helping you to get stronger, I'll just head back to house." "Sasuke-kun, just take the help. All it will do is make you better. Especially if there's still more we have to learn this week." Sasuke let out a sigh of frustration, knowing that he was going to have to do something that he truly did not. "Fine, dope, what can I do to make this go by faster?" "Well, for one, you need to calm down. When I was watching you, the frustration was written all over your face. So sit down and meditate for about 15 minutes, and keep a leaf on your forehead. Stay calm the entire time and focus out everything else in your mind. Since you're about third done already, just walk up to the tree and then try to calmly walk up and focus chakra so you can get a feel for how much you're applying. Think of it just like fighting. If you let your emotions get the better of you, you get sloppy. Same thing goes for your control." "Fine," was the response he got out of the boy, but it was all he needed to know that he was going to take his advice. "But you're talking once that is over." For most people that would have been enough, but this was Naruto he was dealing with. "Fine. You know, Sasuke, you never really thanked me for helping you out the first time." "Just what the hell was the first thing that you did to help me in the first place?" "I'm hurt," Naruto said with a mock pout covering his heart. "I come into class and get rid of half your fangirls, making your life a little bit easier, and you can't even thank someone for that. Personally, I don't know how you were able to put up with that the entire time. Ino's a handful in her own right, her, and that one over there plus the rest of the girls. You're a better man than me. At least someone knows what the third level of hell really is," Sasuke said lowly. "Hey, dope," the last Uchiha yelled back at the blonde. "Thanks for leaving me with one crazy over-obsessed fangirl instead of two. Although I'm jealous you got the strong one." "No problem, team. I'm just happy I got the strong one." "Naruto, you baka, what the fuck is that so supposed to mean?" yelled an infuriated Sakura. "It means just like what the fuck it sounds like," they both said in unison. Hearing that, both boys turned and looked at each other with a confused look on their face. Naruto raised his left eyebrow looking at him, while Sasuke narrowed both his brows, raising his head. "Sasuke-kun will show that baka that he can't talk about us like that. He only does that to mask how much he loves us." Inner Sakura chimed in, doing her best to cope with what she just heard. "Of course you're right. There's no way that Sasuke-kun can think that the pig is better than me." Both boys finally smirked and continued what they were doing, muttering under their breath. "Team. Dope." Seeing this, Sakura's eyes went wide and white with her eyebrow twitching a little bit before she face faulted off the tree. Sasuke-kun didn't defend my honor. What the hell is wrong with you? Inner Sakura roared at herself. Didn't we just discuss that he only did that 'cause that baka was here? Look at him right now. When she looked, it was just in time to see Sasuke look at her, smirk, and shake his head in disappointment. But when you're a borderline stalker, that could be all you need to pick up your spirits. Sasuke-kun smiled at me. I knew he loves me. Just then a thought came to Sasuke that sent a severely cold chill down his spine. Is that why her stealth skills were so high during the academy? I know the Dobe was #1 because of his pranks, but her #2. That bitch has been stalking me. So who has the Hyuga been stalking? Fuck it, she wasn't part of my fan club. Okay, Dobe, you gave me the help, so it's time to talk. Why the hell did you refer to Sensei as an II-san? The young blonde sighed as he really didn't want to talk about this. I did that because I've been trained by him since I was 5 years old. Why the hell would he bother with a baka like you since you were 5? The banshee sounded off one more time, only both boys were happy that it was in a more subdued tone of voice. All I ask is that you let me finish before you interrupt. The reason why he trained me along with so many other powerful shinobi is because of who my father was. He paused, seeing their expecting looks. Is this how Gigi feels whenever he has to deal with paperwork? My father was Namikaze Minato, or Yondaime Hokage. Since Ero Sennin was his sensei, he didn't want to take the chance of IWA finding out about me, so he took me away, and Kakashi and Isen wanted to make sure that he did his part for when I took his name. That will happen in a matter of weeks when the Chunin exams get here. So let me get this straight, you want us to believe that you are the son of Yondaime, the greatest shinobi our village has ever seen. If that was true, the whole village would have known who you were. All I know is that is an insult to the Yondaime for saying that, Sakura said, trying to hold in her laughter and doing a horrible job at it. Rather than arguing with her, he simply reached into a pocket in his vest and pulled out a picture of his parents and gave it to Sasuke. You can give it back to me later. Looking at the picture, Sasuke couldn't help but smirk when he saw the resemblance between Naruto and his father. Before the blonde could get out of sight and hearing range, Sasuke had one thing he wanted to say. Namikaze, I look forward to the amount of missions we'll get after the exams. The last Uchilla and son of Yondaime should become pretty famous. Yeah, if only our third teammate could do something else besides being your stalker, he said before he disappeared in a gust of wind and leaves. As the young blonde was approaching the house, he stopped early, seeing something that he didn't expect to see. Kakashi and Tsunami sitting on the roof, snuggled up like some couple that's been together for years. Damn, I knew that Isen moved fast, but this is ridiculous. I think he needs to be the one writing those books, not Pervy Sage. He still can't get Bachan. It was at that point when something clicked in his head. He knew that he would lose man points for what he was planning on doing. But then again, you lose man points for using 1,000 years of death on another man as far as he was concerned. Flashing through some familiar hand seals, he finished calling on something he hasn't done in a while. Summoning Jutsu. Hey boss, how come you didn't tell me you had a big bag of candy for me? Didn't think I had a Kichi. Well, you just bailed me out of a lecture with Pops, so I won't complain. Good, because right now I got revenge to plan, and you're the perfect toad for the job. Really? So who's the unlucky soul that's gonna get it today? Just the one person who we haven't been able to get, and he deserves every bit of what's coming to him. I don't know, boss, we tried to get Kakashi for a whole year and failed. Why do you want to get him so bad now? Because the bastard used Bachan's 1,000 years of death on me, and right now is the perfect time for that pervert. Alright, I'm in. So what's the plan anyway? You remember how to do the substitution jutsu, right? Kichi nodded his head. Good, now we're going to get a little bit closer to where he is, and when I tell you to, I need you to pull it off. When it's over, dispel yourself if you want to avoid any bodily harm. Meanwhile, at the house. You know, Kashikoin, sometimes it just gets so hard dealing with Inari, and then I see how you fight for your students, and they do the same for you. I just wish that somehow he could be as happy as they are. They seem as if they haven't a care in the world. Nami-chan, you have no idea that those two boys would probably trade places with Inari in a heartbeat, even if they're too proud to admit that themselves. Those two, along with myself, have gone through things most adults don't have to go through for most of their lives, and in all honesty, I still don't know how they do it, but they handle it better than I did at their age. Is that the reason why you're in charge of them? Well, yes, and the fact that Naruto is the son of two people that were very important to me. And if anything happened to him, I couldn't live with myself if I was there and did everything that I could to protect him, even though I would do the same for all three of them. Back in the forest, the blonde was so happy that the fox made it so much easier to pull his pranks off. I can't believe that one-eyed son of a bitch would actually pull me into this. Any shot he had at getting out of this prank just went down the shitter. Back at the house, you know, Kashikoin, I still find it a little hard to believe that you are actually single. How come you haven't found the right woman yet? Well, after certain things that happened to me, I kind of threw myself into my work, and I just kind of separated myself so I wouldn't have to go through something like that again because I just wasn't ready for it. That, and the fact the only person who's a bigger pervert than you is Pervy Sage, and everyone back home knows it. Naruto thought as he was listening in on the conversation.